All right, so this will be our second podcast. I wanted to do more.
Well, yeah, it was second E3 and
second podcast. Yeah. It's the only time where I guess we have enough information to absolutely put one of these together at once and relevant stuff to talk about. Because I mean, nobody gives a shit what I care about Soul Reaver, so
I don't know anything about it.
One day.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a great thing. We'll go into that later. Anyways. No, but we just got done with E3. We're a little late posting this because we wanted to make sure this year. I think last year we missed Nintendo.
Yeah, last year
Nintendo went last.
Yeah, and honestly, I think we could have gone without it this year.
I think we could have went ahead and recorded and then just put an addendum on. I figure we'd go ahead and talk about, because we don't have notes on it, but it's the most recent, it's in our heads, and there's not that much to talk about, so I actually figure we would kind of go out of order and talk about Nintendo first.
Honestly, the coolest thing Nintendo did to me, and they announced it along with Smash, so we're getting Smash Brothers Ultimate, or Supreme, or the new Smash.
The new Smash,
and you get it. They're releasing the GameCube controller for it, which is like the coolest thing Nintendo has done this year at E3, in my opinion. But I don't love Nintendo, so.
But you're a fan of Smash, and your favorite Smash was on GameCube, which is Melee, right?
Yep.
So you're used to playing Smash on that controller.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that this one is a better version of it, because while that controller was fun, everyone I've played with except for the one I have, like the C-stick or the joystick, one or the other always goes wonky on them.
It's crazy.
Especially when playing like Smash. and another game, they announced a new Mario Party, and then they announced the GameCube controller, and I was like, well, thank God, because it was a decently sturdy controller. So I'm hoping this one is better, and the reason behind that is because I know for a fact that from the 64 days especially, that Smash and Mario Party destroys controllers.
Well, Mario Party specifically just ruins friendships. If you want to stop having a friend, you just like, do you want to play Mario Party? And it works pretty well. Those are the only those are the only things I know about Nintendo. We didn't get a Metroid Prime 4.
We're gonna have to wait.
Yeah.
I didn't figure we would, because last year all we got was a logo.
Yeah.
And I was like, it would be cool if they showed us something, but even if they showed us something, I really feel like it would have just been a cinematic anyways. We weren't going to get...
It's still something, though.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't remind us. Like, we're still working on that? They just popped the logo up there again for 10 seconds and be like, oh no, it's coming.
It's the same thing as last year.
Yeah, like, maybe they'll put like a picture of like new Samus character art next to it. So now we're like, okay, now we know what...
Yeah.
We know what the fucking suit looks like in this one.
Yeah. Well, I do know in Smash they've redone her character model for Smash Brothers. And the Zero suit, they have slimmed her down quite a bit. Her boobies are not quite as big, which I'm upset about personally.
I saw you post that somewhere, I think Facebook, and I was just like, okay.
You're just okay?
Yeah, no, Samus is probably one of my, favorite old school characters. Like, it's the one Nintendo franchise that I'm like, yes, I love Metroid.
Oh, definitely.
All the others are cool, and I understand why people love them, but that's the one that I'm like, because the new Zelda came out, and everybody's like, yeah, it's a great Zelda game, and I'm like, nah, I'll play it eventually. I'm not running out the door to get a Switch for Zelda, but whenever they were like, well, we're doing Metroid Prime 4, I was like, well, then I have to get a Switch. But I can still wait, because y'all haven't showed me anything about that game except that it's coming.
Dude, can we talk about how, Daisy made it into Smash, but Waluigi didn't?
I mean, you can.
Okay, well, Waluigi didn't make it into Smash, and Daisy did, and that's it.
Waluigi made it as an assist trophy.
It is not the same!
I mean, I know it's not the same. I'm glad that Wario made it.
I wouldn't play Waluigi because he's uncircumcised, but
okay, let's not. Let's not.
This is E3 2018.
Is that I mean, I understand it's part of your headcanon.
No, it's real.
But I'm not gonna allow it to be part of mine. So
Nintendo said it's real.
Don't care. Don't care that much about Waluigi. This is why I don't like Waluigi. But anyways, so yeah, they did Smash and Pokemon. That was their two big things.
Yeah, Pokemon.
There's one thing, and like I didn't take notes, and I wouldn't have been able to take notes. There were a couple periods throughout this that it seems like everybody did, where they were like, "Here's 15 things back to back. You get about 5 to 10 seconds of footage of each one of them. We'll put the name on it somewhere, and then we're on to the next thing." And
exactly.
It was as like, "Oh, well, here's a bunch of titles that aren't like our mainstream titles," and I think even if I remember right. And we'll get into more of theirs later, but I remember, I want to say Microsoft did, and then they did, but in there they did a one that was a bunch of indie games, a lot of which looked really fucking cool, and I don't remember what any of them are, because I saw 10 seconds of it and went like, ooh, what's that about? I want to see that, and then they were like, no, next thing.
Then it's like overload.
Like, there was a cool samurai game, all I can tell you, samurai game that looked cool, and then like some cool game, I couldn't even tell you, but the art was really nice, and it was like a 3D world, but it looked like 2D animated.
Yep.
Like this was like the next level of cell shading, because it didn't have that weird pseudo 3D comic booky cell shading look. It looked like animation on the screen, but like the camera was swiveling around. It was obviously like 3D models. But I don't know what the name of the fucking game was. But no, Nintendo did Pokemon and Smash. Like they led with Smash, and then they finished off Pokemon. Now you said you didn't see any footage, like real footage of the games being played. You just kind of saw.
I didn't watch Nintendo's live. I watched like a 5-minute recap because I was just not that interested in Nintendo's.
Oh, I felt like I'd wasted my time afterwards.
I was worried.
It was only like 45 minutes.
Like
see, y'all keep saying that. You said it's 45 minutes. You watched a breakdown.
Yeah.
Whatever I watched was live, and it was obviously like live. I watched a recording of the live stream, and I think it was 1-to-1 with what actually happened, because what I watched was like closer to 2 hours. It was over an hour long. And but in that I did get to see like a long form presentation of gameplay from Smash, which where I didn't see it. So Ridley is a new playable character that people have wanted forever, and everybody was like, "Oh, I don't know what he plays like," and I was like, "Well, what I watched was where they showed us for like, they like specifically like did a match against like the computer to show off his, and then had like a 2-player face-off where one person played Samus."
That's cool. I know people have been
Samus.
asking.
I say Samus, and I just always have.
Samus Aran. Samus Aran. Something like it is Samus.
Potato.
Yeah.
Metroid.
Yeah, exactly.
You know when Metroid gets the suit upgrade?
They said that every playable Smash character is in Smash. I know David Hayter on Twitter posted like I'm going to be voicing some new Snake lines, and I got super hype because I assumed Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake, but that's not what it was. It was for Smash. So
I don't trust them with that.
Do you not?
Konami, no. Like, I mean, if they're going to hand it off to one of these, like, they're just like, hands off, here's the base game, like, make an even prettier version of it, and they handed it off to, like, the people that did Shadow of the Colossus, or, like, some of these others that done these really good remakes / remasters.
Yes.
You know, that would be fine, but, like, if Konami was like, no, we're doing it all in-house, it'd be like, it's going to fucking suck. They're gonna shove microtransactions in there, you're going to have to build a base. You'd be like, it's Metal Gear 3. Why would you build a base? He's got to have a place to keep all his snakes to eat.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to come in and steal all your snakes to eat.
Well, I mean...
And then you can take those snakes back to your game, and that way you don't have to hunt snakes to eat.
It'll be survival, like Metal Gear Survive is, where you have to go out... I've never played Metal Gear Survive. I assume it's Snake Eater plus Ark. And you just go out and tame zombies and...
You don't tame zombies.
You do.
No, you fight zombies, and their AI is really shitty.
Oh, is it?
Oh, super shitty. The zombie AI in that game is horrible. You pretty much, like, the ultimate weapon in the game is basically like a pike, like a spear that you stand like behind most of your combat is standing behind a chain link fence, poking zombies in the head with a spear. And they're like weird crystal-headed unicorn zombies. Anyways, this is old news.
It's not even
but
I honestly don't know much else about Nintendo's. I watched like the 5-minute breakdown. I know about Smash, the controllers. There's a Splatoon 2. There's like an open beta coming this summer. If you like Splatoon,
I think 2's already. I thought 2 was already out.
Well, maybe it's DLC. I don't know. I don't It's Splatoon. I'm not a kid or a squid.
You
could be. You could be a squid now, or you could be a kid now.
I believe in you.
Or you could be a squid now.
Or a kid now. Over and over for about 4 minutes.
Or in a kid now.
Yeah.
No, I think that's pretty much it. Like, I know there's something we're missing that like, somebody's going to be like, oh, this was a highlight for me.
If you care about Nintendo, let us know.
I mean, we Pokemon, let's
I
go.
don't.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about the Pokemon. The Pokemon is not, like, straight, like, it is and it isn't.
Well, they've even said it's, like, casual, like, Pokemon for casual players, and, like, Pokemon's, like, kind of the most casual game.
Already, yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of is... You know, there were kids that had Game Boys to play Pokemon whenever I was a kid that didn't have Game Boys before. Like, that was the thing that they drove their parents, crazy about. Like, I gotta have the Pokemans.
Yeah.
And then eventually they were like, okay, here, just, it's your birthday, take it, shut up. But, no, they did. It looks interesting. It looks fun. It looks good on the Switch.
You can play with a friend. That's cool.
You can play with a friend. You can have one of your Pokemans or multiple, I think. Like, instead of being in the Pokeball, they follow you.
That's cool. If you pre-order, I think you get Mew. You always have a Mew if you pre-order, or if you buy a certain edition of those games or something.
I'm not sure. Well, there's and I was going to get to that, but the... one cool thing I saw is somebody was like, okay, I'm going to take Onyx out. Well, Onyx, scale-wise, is a very large creature. So instead of it following you, you rode it around.
Oh, that's super cool.
He was very large. They were doing them all in, like, that's one thing in this one, that because they're going, like, full 3D and everything.
Right.
And it's not on a little, whatever, 6-inch screen, whatever that is. They're going, like, full scale with what they're supposed to be. So, like...
Some are going to be massive.
Yeah, and it's really, because it was really interesting, because, like, the person had, like, Charmander and Eevee following them around, and then they brought out Onyx, and, like, we're riding Onyx, and all of a sudden you realize that, like, Charmander and Eevee are tiny compared to this thing. But one of the things they also did is they got this, like, and at first I was like, that's dumb. But it's a special controller. It's a Pokeball controller.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, that's dumb. Like, because it's basically a ball with a joystick on it.
Yes.
That you, like, mimic throwing to throw your Pokeball. But they were like, you can play the entire game with it. And I'm like, that's probably going to be weird. But what I thought was cool is, like, you can use it as, like, a save device. So you can put a Pokemon in it and then go to your friend's house.
Oh, sure.
But you could also, it has, like, basically, like, one of those trackers that, like, keeps up with your movements and stuff like that.
Like pedometers,
Yeah. It has something like that, so you can like, before you leave your house for the day, take one of your Pokemon, download it into the Pokeball, and then it keeps track of your movements, and then when you come home, it has gifts, and I don't know what those gifts are, but I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, that kind of gets in with the, like, the Pikachu Tamagotchi that kept up with how much you walked, or like the Pokemon Go, I think, has a similar function, so, like, that's something that there's always something about Pokemon that's like, okay, now, like, if you move around, you get some presents.
I remember for Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, the remakes for the 3DS, they came with these little tiny pedometers that were Pokeballs, and it was the same thing. Like, you took the little pedometer with you, and when you were within a certain range of your 3DS, it would sync with it, and you'd have gifts, or, like, each number of steps would, like, correspond with so much experience that Pokemon got, so it sounds like they're doing kind of the same thing. That's cool, though, that it's a controller.
Yeah, it's also apparently a controller, so that's cool. But I think that's about it.
Yeah, for Nintendo, and it's like, I don't have a lot else to say.
No.
I just want to say I'm disappointed there was no Animal Crossing announcement.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes, no, she's very upset about them just not doing Animal Crossing. That's the thing. I don't have to worry about, like, when to get the Switch, because as soon as they announce Animal Crossing, like, I only have to worry. Like, I think she's already got, like, a secret bank account that is, like, set with enough money to buy a Switch and a game, and, like, as soon as there's an Animal Crossing,
you're just gonna come home one day and it's gonna be
there's just
Animal
gonna be
Crossing
a Switch
on the big screen.
Which, I mean, okay.
Which hasn't happened since GameCube. That's what they're doing, you know. Like, Animal Crossing is gonna come out and they're gonna be like, now you can play it on the GameCube controller.
Well, yeah. I mean, but also, like, they're like, well, we made our console mobile. So, I think what a lot of people are afraid of is, and they've said so since, like, the Switch came out and sold good, and they were like, well, what about our 3DS, our precious 3DS that we've done everything on? And a lot of people they're like, oh, we're still going to support the 3DS, but people are still like,
it's going to be phased out soon.
When they made the console portable, and, like, to be honest, like, it's bigger to carry around, it's more like carrying around, like, a tablet or something like that, but the thing that bothers me about handhelds is the size of the handhelds, like, the size of the screen and the size of the handheld itself, and trying to, like, I don't have giant hands, but I don't have small hands, like, she has a 3DS and can spend hours on it playing. And she's got the XL, so it's even the bigger version.
Oh, yeah.
I can play it for about an hour before I'm like, this is the most uncomfortable thing. Like, my hands are cramped up.
No, I feel you. I just want to lightly touch on this because there are so many, like, developers that we'll get to later that announce games for the Switch, but I don't know how I feel about, like, these big titles that, like Skyrim, for example, runs okay on PS4. I'm worried about how it will run on Switch, and, like, it's already
on Switch, isn't it?
Well, I think so.
I
don't know. They've announced so many games for Switch that, like, I guess my point is, like, they've released so many games for Switch that I'm like, that cannot be performing as well as it doesn't matter. This isn't E3. It just doesn't, like, I don't think they, like, perform as well as they do in other consoles, or maybe they're optimized differently. I don't know.
So what you're saying is you're afraid that there's a not optimized version of Skyrim.
Yeah, that's my concern. No.
You could play it on everything.
Let me tell you.
But damn it, if it doesn't run well on Switch,
it's
not like it's ever been a buggy mess anywhere else.
We're not endorsed by Bethesda, and Todd Howard didn't pay me to say that. So that's all. Just there are more coming. There are more versions of this game coming. That's all I have to say.
All right, so we're done with Nintendo. What do we want to do next? What do you got?
We got Square notes. Not a lot on that. We got a new Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer, which one of our friends is super excited about. The worlds we saw in it were Frozen, Toy Story, Hercules Coliseum, Monsters Inc. Tangled. Those are all new except Coliseum. Kingdom Hearts is going to keep getting pushed back. I don't care what anyone says. Also, nothing on Final Fantasy VII, so that's never happening either. Don't believe anything Square says.
I agree.
Last I heard of the Final Fantasy VII is that it had been, like, taken away from the people that were working on it.
Given
to, like, a whole new crew, and the whole new crew was like, we can't do anything with what you gave us, so we're going to start all over.
The game had been being made by, like, an outsourced developer, outsourced team or something, and Square was like, hey, how are things going? And they said, we fucked up this game. It's bad. And so Square took it back. They're doing it in-house now, and they couldn't use any of it. So the last, 4 years were just, wasted on this game.
Yeah.
So.
Just,
it's not happening. It's not going to happen.
And I mean, and if it does, there's no telling it's ever going to be what you want it to be anyways. Because,
yeah.
We've had these games go into, development limbo for a long time. And the most extreme case, of course, Duke Nukem Forever. But that was, that's a totally different kind of game, and they just went the wrong route with it. But even then, it's like, oh, well, when you take, concepts from a game that was super popular in the 90s...
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was rude and crude, and the guy was cool, and he had sunglasses and said shit.
Yeah.
And then, you bring that forward into the 2000s and go, look, we finally did another one. It's shinier, but it plays like Call of Duty. It's like, oh.
It's like, this isn't Duke Nukem. This is not what I remember.
Well, even if it was, though, if he's like, assholes.
Yeah. You
would have been like, this isn't as cool as it was whenever I was 10.
Exactly.
Like, oh, he said dirty word. Oh, there's strippers. So...
That's all I got on Square.
That's all you have on... Do you have anything else on
Square? Other than the fact that I don't believe them. And I mean, honestly, this Final Fantasy VII thing is super.
I don't care.
Super confusing.
I don't care.
I mean, there's like they're saying like it could be an episodic game, which like whatever. I
heard that a long time ago, and it's since been yanked away. So I don't even know if that's
Well,
I'm sorry.
I don't keep up enough with Final Fantasy. I'm like, I like the games okay, but they're not my favorite. I don't keep up enough with Square to know like, oh, should I be excited for this thing or not?
Well, they're doing this new, not Life is Strange, but a boy's Life is Strange, sort of.
Cat. What is the name of that? Yeah. What was the name of it?
I don't know. It was kind of cute.
I think it's Captain something.
Catherine Fullbody.
No. Oh God.
I don't. Who knows?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. I thought it was, kind of cute. It was different.
Yeah.
But
I
in
don't
the same
care.
way, it was that same Life is Strange style.
I decided that I'm just not into narrative games whatsoever.
I'm not super into them.
Well, like, we just got it's recent, it's not E3, but I'll talk briefly about it, and the finally David Cage did a game, apparently, that nobody's, like, super pissed off about, or, like, just tearing apart because parts of it don't make sense, or there's weird shit in it, or...
Yeah, people really seem to like Detroit Become Human.
Yeah, so Detroit...
I gotta say it's good. I gotta say it's...
I don't want to play it. I've watched people play it on YouTube, and I got the exact same experience.
Yeah.
Other than, like, well, they made a choice I wouldn't have made. But,
right.
like, I feel like I've gotten that experience where they're like, play through a narrative game multiple times to get everything, all the possible. I'm like, but I like the one I got first time, so...
I was pretty done with narrative games a long time ago after, like, Indigo Prophecy, which I think was David Cage's first game. I don't know, I could be wrong.
It wasn't his first.
It was one of his earlier ones.
It was not, no, because the Omicron came before that, I do believe.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's fucking weird.
They're all weird.
That one was
David
the
Cage,
weirdest. No, so, like, anyways, yeah, they Square announced that. I don't care. Like, it looks cool. I guess if you're into that sort of thing, like I feel like if you just loved, because they did 2 Life is Strange, and if you're still like after the second one, you're all about Life is Strange, then this game's gonna be great.
Get the boy Life is Strange.
Yeah. God, damn it bugs me because like it was like I had that name of that game in my head.
Sorry.
Just Google boy.
Boy Life is Strange.
Boy Life is Strange.
Boy Life is Strange.
Google's like, you're damn right. So that's Square. I guess we're done with Square.
I mean, that's all I have on them. Again, there's probably more. The 2 that I took a lot of notes on were Sony and Bethesda, and most of my Bethesda notes are complaining about Todd Howard.
I like that in your notes you were just like, Todd fucking Howard.
A man yelled during Bethesda, when Todd Howard was out there, a man yelled, I came here... Todd Howard said, I know why you came here tonight. And the man yelled, Todd Howard. And this man loves being lied to. This man loves being lied to. Like,
and lying.
And lying. I came here for Todd Howard, you liar. Do you want to talk about Bethesda?
I mean, yeah. It's one of the ones I was like, day one, like, oh, I gotta watch Bethesda's.
It is the only one that I watched live. No, I didn't. I watched Sony live. I only watched Bethesda and Sony live.
But we watched Sony live together.
Yeah. There was the Skyrim commercial with Alexa.
Alexa and Keegan-Michael Key.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
I thought it was just too... I don't know. I thought it was too much.
I have to say that
too
Bethesda...
tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
Bethesda was extremely self-aware this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost to the point where you want to... You want to see them act, and you want to hear them stop talking.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll give you that. Like, I thought, like, the all the jabs that between that and then also Todd Howard, like, took at their games and stuff that's happened in the past.
Yep.
They were definitely, like, taking jabs at themselves, but it was sort of a totally not robots kind of thing. Like, ha ha ha. I've heard there's been a problem with some of our games before.
You're like, your games are fucking broken.
We're gonna make the same joke about how you can run Skyrim on a refrigerator.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make a joke about eating a ton of wheels of cheese.
Oh, that's right.
That was my favorite joke. The whole thing was just like, I need a health potion. You're out of health potions. How many wheels of cheese? 400. I eat all the cheese. Like,
Todd Howard said, dude, all my notes are complaining about, all my Bethesda notes are complaining about
Bethesda notes. Give me your Bethesda notes.
Todd Howard said I had to do it to him, or had to do it to him. I can't remember which, and I flipped my shit.
I flipped my shit when he said fucking.
Fucking glows in the dark.
Glows in the fucking dark.
Yeah,
he says fucking.
I flipped my shit when he said fucking. Because I was like, oh man, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that, Todd Howard.
Well, okay, so we'll just move to Bethesda then, since we're already there.
Okay.
They did announce that, yes, I'm going to get this out of the way, because they did announce Elder Scrolls 6. We know nothing.
We don't know anything. It looks like it's set in somewhere like West Tamriel. That's about all we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't know anything, and we could sit here and speculate forever because it's Skyrim.
Yep.
Because it's Skyrim. Sorry, it's me.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's probably gonna be. They're gonna be like, Elder Scrolls
Skyrim 2.
I'm down. This one has no magic.
I really think it'll be somewhere Western Tamriel. I've already seen 1,000,000 people on Reddit picking it apart.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I've already had, like, people message me and be like, hey, let's, like, analyze this. Which is cool, which is great, but, I want them to do something crazy. I want them to go to Akavir or Artaeum. I want them to do something out there.
Like, not in Tamriel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I would have been happy with a Valenwood, but that didn't look like a Valenwood to me.
I want Valenwood so bad, but I kind of doubt it's
I want migratory cities.
Yeah.
Where, like, yeah, you could quick travel to it because you've done it, but, like, after you've played the game for, like, 30 days, it's in a different spot. And you're like, oh. Like,
yeah.
Because, like, I brought that up, and she's like, I don't think we have, like, the game tab. I was like, well, these things slowly migrate, so you wouldn't see it migrating. It would just be all of a sudden you'd be going there, and you're like, oh, it's not where it was before.
Yeah.
I've been gone for a while. Anyways, but like I said, we could probably go on and on about Elder Scrolls forever, because we always wanted the Elder Scrolls, and we want it to be the Elder Scrolls we want it to be.
Yeah, we want it to be Valenwood.
Well, I mean, we want it to be. We each want it to be what we want it to be.
Yeah, of course. We got Rage 2. You're super interested in Rage 2.
Rage 2 is one of my highlights. That's in my, like, top... I don't know if I have all 5, but I'll say it's in the top 5 of, yes.
Okay.
What they didn't show off a ton. What they showed off looks like it's a game made for me. Plus... it's made by the same studio. They're working with the same studio that made the Mad Max game, which I was one of those people that I'm like, this was a totally, like, underappreciated game.
Oh, definitely. I didn't play Rage 1, but when I saw the trailer, I was like, this is a game made for people that like Mad Max.
Yeah, and I loved Mad Max, and I watched... But this one's gonna, it's cool to me, because this one's... I played a game a long, long time ago called, like, Redline something, blah, blah, blah. It was on PC. Like, I've tried to look it up, and you can find references to it, but it was such an obscure, like, nobody bought it game.
Right.
But, like, it had this cool thing where it had cars with guns on them, and you got, like, to your mission with those, and then you would have to, like, get out and go in, and it became a first-person shooter. So, like, that style of, like, third-person action driving game with, like... anything where you put guns on a car, because I was also... I love Twisted Metal and Vigilante 8. I love those old car combat games they don't make anymore.
Right.
So anytime they're like, we put machine guns and rocket launchers on a kick-ass car, I'm like, I'm there. And the fact that you're just also going to be like, you're using that to get from A to B and do cool stuff, but then you've got to get out and go in on foot. And then, of course, they showed off some powers that looked like they stole from Mass Effect.
Yep.
Which I'm okay with too, because...
Well, yeah, I mean...
I don't care.
It's not like Mass Effect has the right to, like, telekinesis.
No.
So, but it's that one of the teams that's making it also made the Arkham games. They made Arkham Knight. They did the car combat looks really similar, except in Rage the car combat looks better because it's open world. Car combat in Arkham Knight sucked. So
Arkham Knight sucked. It was just you were in a city. You had streets.
Yeah, you were like super confined, which is not conducive.
And this is a desert,
right?
Where like if you don't like make that hard turn right, like
okay.
you went up the sand dune.
You go a little slower.
You didn't go into a building, like. Right. But yeah, no, that was one of the things they did, and then of course, let me scan through these real quick.
Well, Andrew WK was there.
Andrew WK was totally there, and the audience did not look interested what the fuck so ever.
I know, like every they would show like shots of people, and like every like 6th or 10th person or something would be like kind of into it, and everyone else was just like, this is who is this?
Wow, you broke down Fallout here.
Good, yeah.
Son of a bitch. Like, no, here, like, I know people at home can't see, but Fallout starts here and it's the rest of the page.
Oh, man. I've got a paragraph on Fallout.
Starfield, we still don't know anything about it.
Yep. People speculate that it's, I mean, we can speculate all day, but people speculate it's set between Fallout and Elder Scrolls and that Fallout comes first.
We get another Wolfenstein.
Yep.
I imagine it's more Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
So if you like Wolfenstein...
Get it?
Well, it's co-op, which is interesting.
Yeah. This one was... Right, yeah. This one is... which, to me, is the automatic part. Like...
Oh, definitely.
Like, that... I like the new Far Cry because I like the change of setting and the change of story and stuff like that, and them kind of retooling things so that it didn't feel like you were doing the exact same thing over and over again. But the co-op and the fact that the co-op in this one, Far Cry, worked.
Actually, yeah.
And worked very well, in my opinion, was like a selling point, because you and I have clocked hours playing it,
definitely.
and just being like, what do you want to do? I don't know what you want to do.
Kill shit,
let's go, I got this. Okay, well, we can go do that. Like, let's go raid that base. Let's go save these people. Let's get in a helicopter and fly all the way across the map and jump out and parachute. Like, fuck the helicopter. You can crash to the ground. I'll get a new one.
Well, I definitely want to play some Wolfenstein with friends. I quite enjoy Wolfenstein, so the co-op is a big bonus for me.
Yeah. No, co-op is always a big bonus for me. I'm more like, we're going to do an online mode, and you're going to win me over with co-op before you, ever win me over with, competitive. The competitive has to be really special for me to be like, oh, no, I want to play that competitively. It can't just be a 8-man shoot 'em up. But, we got that. I got more stuff for Elder Scrolls Legends, which is their card game, which... I'm not into card games, even these digital ones, but I've heard that, like, there was a period where everybody, like, Hearthstone was the shit.
Yep.
And then a bunch of people were like, well, we're going to do a Hearthstone. And out of all the people that said, we're going to do a Hearthstone, Elder Scrolls was the only one that was, like good enough and also original enough to, like, differentiate itself from Hearthstone, that it's stuck around, so it is good.
Yeah. But
they announced more stuff for it, which... in the long run, it's just more card packs.
Yeah, of course.
So, if you like that, then that's good.
A lot of people really love them. I'm not into them. But,
I'm not into them.
Let's see. They talked about a bunch of VR stuff. They didn't really show us a lot of VR stuff. But they definitely were like, we're every not everything they announced, but a lot of the things they announced that weren't like the big titles like Fallout or Rage or whatever. And they may have even done it for Rage, but like a lot of it, they were like, VR.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing that. You could play Fallout Shelter in VR, and I'm like, that seems like a waste of resources you put into that you could, like it.
Now I can see and nod at the room I want to choose.
I guess.
I'm glad that Fallout Shelter's been so successful, though. I mean, it really kind of shows Bethesda the power of the free game. Yeah.
And I never really bitch about microtransactions on a game that's free.
Yep. I played Fallout Shelter on my phone a long time ago when it's free now on Xbox and PS4 and I assume computer. Or PC, whatever. But like it's okay. It has trophies, so that's what I'm into it for.
We've done it before, but you'll do it again for the trophies.
Well, I can't get trophies on my phone.
Yeah, well, I know that, but I'm saying, like, it's to you, it's worth doing it again on the PlayStation now that it gives you trophies.
It's like 300 megs. It's a tiny download.
Well, I mean, which also means it's like, well, I can play it again. Like,
yeah, of course.
I can. You could have just been like, there's trophies, but
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I don't want to play that fucking game again.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, I wouldn't. You can spend money on it, and of course, like they highly encourage you to spend money on it. I wouldn't, but I don't do that anyway. So,
but no, so we got that. So I guess we can get into Fallout since I've got
you got a lot of notes on Fallout.
Here. We don't know. Yeah, they did Starfield. We don't know anything about Starfield.
Yep.
Like, nothing big. They're working on it. Yay, it's a new IP.
So, Fallout.
Yep.
Fallout, it's Fallout 76, which is against the traditional naming system. They've skipped, like, 70 numbers. But Vault 76 is a control vault, right? You know more about.
Okay, so well, if we want to get into the lore of it,
well, I mean, it's
so like in this one, yes, Vault 76 is one of the first vaults to open. It's opening roughly around 25 years after the bombs have dropped. So every other one
immediately after.
Yeah, every other one you've been a good 200 years away from the bomb. So this is immediately after. This one is going to be an online experience. It seems like they're urging for cooperative, but there is a PvP element to it. Yeah,
each character is, or each person is a real person. I assume there are vendors and stuff, but
there's got to be some NPCs. But like, yeah, it seems to me that like they're gonna, and there has to be NPCs for you if you choose to play cooperatively.
Of course.
Then there's got to be something that oh, shit, I'm dropping everything. Something in there that like is still challenging you other than like we'll avoid the shitty players that like to fucking troll people.
Yeah.
But then again, there's plenty of games that have actually kind of purposed themselves around that.
That's true.
Just avoid the guys.
I mean, that's what
go get the stuff.
It's Fallout 76 Battle Royale. Fallout 76 2 will have Battle Royale mode.
I just assume everything will have Battle Royale mode.
I mean, it's coming up on.
No, I'm okay with that. I want Dark Souls Battle Royale. I literally want just an arena with 100 motherfuckers in it. Like the first 5 minutes is just frantic R1 smashing and watching people go down. Like you hope you spawn on the outer rim. And then you and everybody that spawns on the outer rim just becomes a meat grinder that moves inwards, and then you get down to 5 people and it becomes a real fight.
Yeah. Sounds fun, actually.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Can you imagine my Dark Souls 3 with this fucking spin to win? And just a crowd of motherfuckers? Just chop, 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 chop. Until I got down to the end and realized I suck at PvP.
So Fallout 76.
So Fallout 76.
Sorry, Battle Royale, everything. Do it.
If like when they teased this, what was it, a week or two before E3 when they released this picture on Twitter?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then people started spreading rumors amongst all the fake E3 leaks.
No.
But one of the rumors was that it was a totally online experience, and I did not believe it.
But it is.
But it is, apparently. Yes.
I mean, they say you can still play it by yourself.
But what does that mean?
Well, to me, it means we've played online survival games. We've played Ark. You come across a one-man tribe with a giant fucking base.
Yeah, it's
and,
totally
all the stuff. So, 1 or 2 people can get together, which to me is cool, because I'm like, well, I got, 3 friends I'm going to play with online, maybe.
Right.
If they all decide to get it, and I assume, as we find out more, we're going to decide whether or not we're all going to get it, but...
Yeah.
He did say that there were going to be dedicated servers.
Yes.
And I believe that he expounded on it later on outside of E3 and said there would be private servers.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Oh, man, I hope they don't go through Nitrado.
I don't care for Nitrado a whole lot. But that is interesting that they do. My biggest fear, if we're talking about like concerns we have for it, my biggest fear is that it will play like ESO.
Yes, that is my biggest fear.
And that they're going to be releasing like an unfinished game that has, $60 DLC every 2 months, and I'm not doing that.
I can see them doing DLC and it being big. But that was my thing. They for the longest time, that was like, they're like, it's going to be online, it's going to be like competitive, or like both competitive and cooperative.
Yeah.
You're going to be on a server with like not hundreds but like dozens of people, so a good population control. I was like, that's cool. How does it play? And then they finally showed what they're telling us is gameplay,
and it looks like
it looked like Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, obviously you can't have the same VAT system because you can't freeze a game that's an online game into slow motion for everybody on the server. That would not make sense. But if the shooting is at least as decent as it was in Far Cry 4. I'm sorry. Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Or Far Cry. The shooting in Far Cry 4 was good. Like,
yeah, I mean.
But either way, Fallout 4, if they, if they keep that kind of, that and the customization of the guns and stuff like that, then I'm going to enjoy, like, the gameplay experience. It does seem that this one, if you hate the settlement building, this may not be the game for you, because I think that's going to be a big portion of it.
I think it's going to be really heavy on that. I did see in the trailer for it, they were like, you can rebuild everything, and it shows the White House, and I was like, that's where I want to live. I'm going to live at the White House.
I really am wondering about like some of like the historical buildings and like the buildings that are not like from the like weird, obviously like plug and play crafting system that they had in 4.
Yeah.
Like if it's not sorry, I think I saw some of that, so I'm like, that's there, but like these big buildings, and they're like, well, you can rebuild everything, and then they show you the White House, and I'm like, well, like, is it ruined when we get there? Do we have to like go like get materials and deposit them into it to like get it to, reconstruct it through getting things for it, or like, is it just like, oh, well, you can go in and claim that building, and then like, like, is it a whole building when we get there? Is it not? Because it's definitely not part of the crafting building structure system that they introduced, and like I said, I saw shots of, so still exists.
Yes.
As far as just building you a base out in the middle of nowhere, which I'm cool with if it's just as easy to make fucking walls of turrets, because that's what you do.
Yeah.
You create these multi-tiered death walls.
Yeah.
And anything that's not friendly that gets nearby just becomes cheese.
If there's anything Fallout 4 has taught me, yeah.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of quote-unquote building anywhere. I don't know specifically what that means, but I kind of had wanted that for Fallout 4 anyway. Like, kind of, I don't know, be able to expand your areas where you can build.
That would be really nice.
I mean, we're going to find out, because I was just reading down on the notes here. The release date for it is November 14th of this year.
Yes.
So, of 2018. And they say that they're doing a beta.
Oh, that's right.
So, in between now and November, which isn't a long time, we're going to get a look at it before it comes out.
Yeah. And
I can't remember if they said it was like a private beta, like if you have to get accepted.
I don't know if they said anything about
if it's
going to
be open. But even if it's not open, even if it's something that not everybody can like get into, it's the age of like Twitch and YouTube, so you're gonna get to see it. Definitely. Even if you don't get to play it, along with like at least a while before it comes out. I'm hoping a good little while. Like, I'm hoping they like put it out and then let it run for a good like month or two, and then take it off, fix what they need to fix, and then go for a full release.
Yeah. Saw a lot of new creatures in the Fallout. I saw a giant sloth, like a giant mutated sloth. And I was like, oh, he's such a good boy. I
saw the sloth.
I was overjoyed.
Yeah.
I'm really wondering if they are going to go like full arc and like mutated animals and stuff can be tamed.
That would be interesting.
I could see not, like, maybe super mutants, but, like...
I want to see the giant hermit crab again.
Yeah. We saw a giant frog?
We saw a larger frog. I wouldn't say he was giant, but he was a larger frog.
We saw that. We saw a creepy thing that glows in the swamp with glowing eyes in the swamp at night. We don't know what that is.
Frog.
More frog. But yeah, we saw some new monsters, which is cool because...
Dragon.
Bat dragon!
Right.
They were like, how do we get dragons in here for people to fight? Like, what's the most epic thing you could do if you could play Skyrim online? Well, you would fight dragons together. That would be cool. And it's like, well, how do we get dragons? Giant fucking bats.
Yeah.
With like 6 limbs.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm down for that. Like, it even when it like comes down and I saw people fighting it, I was just like, that it looks like a dragon fight.
Exactly.
Everybody's shooting at it instead.
I know they said a lot of the new creatures are like based on like the area, like the West Virginia, Maryland, that area. I didn't know there were sloths in that area.
I don't know about all that, but I do know that like we haven't gotten like a huge introduction of new creatures in any of them since. Like, well, if we say go back to 3, like, when you get to New Vegas, you get some, you get, like, the Nightkins, and you get some wildlife that's new.
Right.
But not a lot. And then in 4, I don't remember, there were a few things, wildlife-wise, that were new, but it was still...
the rad stags. And,
you're still pretty much, like, fighting raiders or super mutants or ghouls. And then you got, like, a few, like, there was that mosquito bug was new.
Oh, yeah.
The bloodsuckers, they were new. Yes, but anyways, seeing a bunch of new things was kind of cool. But yeah, I'm hoping that what they showed me or what I believe they were trying to tell me was gameplay was exactly that, and it's not like an MMO played game. It's much more of a shooter game that's just played on like a large scale with, like they said, not hundreds but dozens. So
yeah,
I think they say dozens because they don't have the number locked in yet.
I'm sure they don't. And
I think that's going to be part of the beta, I hope. Not only just stress testing, but also being like, we can do more or we need to do less.
Right.
Like, depending on how quickly everybody just nukes the map.
Over and over and
I
over
completely forgot about that, actually.
Yeah, they were like, oh, there's warheads, and like you have to find these like key codes.
I saw that, and it was just like, it's Metal Gear 5 online.
Well, like, no, because they were talking about how, like, you would need, like, multiple of these things, but, like, I'm guessing they're super rare to find.
Yeah.
Or you have to do something very specific to get them. Which, that's my thing, is, like, how easy are these things to grind? And, like, what are, like, the likelihood of, like, one person or a group of people being able to get enough together in one spot to then go to... And I'm assuming each place where there's a warhead, there has to be a different code. You can't just get a code and be like, we got one, run to the nearest warhead.
Yeah.
But like, it seems like you could totally wipe somebody's base with one.
Yes.
And that's what I want to see. Like, that's what's most interested. Like, I'm waiting for this beta to come out because I want to see, like, how quickly it's just scorched earth.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I want to know, like, how quickly, like, that's going to happen, and, like, I guess, like, my big issue is, like, how big is the blast radius, and also, like, where should I build at to not have this happen to me?
Well, it seems like it doesn't matter. Like,
really?
It's that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there will be a range on each one, so you have to have the key code to a specific one that's also within range. Like, if they make it that difficult to pull off, then I'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, can you imagine, like, the like, sort of alpha tribe type people being like, oh, we have the key codes and your base is in our blast radius, so, like...
I mean, yeah, like,
we're gonna go, like...
It's not hard to imagine.
We're gonna be, like, fucking, not Beyond Thunderdome. It was the other Mad Max movie, I don't remember which one.
Oh, I don't know.
Just the out in the desert being like, step away from the gasoline and everyone can leave. Just leave. My head is mutated and pulsing. But, they mentioned there's different regions, so
yeah,
I don't know.
6 different regions.
I don't understand, and they're different biomes, and that's cool, but, like...
Well, it looks like they're all... They said that they were all different, that all these regions were vastly different as far as wildlife and enemies and things like that. So
make of that what you will.
Also, apparently, it's 4 times the size of Fallout 4.
Yes, and I don't know if that means, like, are these all open? You just walk to one. Is there a loading screen in between?
Something tells me there will be a loading screen.
Yeah, and as long as the areas in between loading screens are big enough, I don't care.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's like, if I have to, like, go to the gate of, New Vegas to go in, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's all the gates after the main gate that give me the problem with New Vegas, like, where I'm like, I walk 2 blocks and I go through another loading screen and I gotta do this like 4 times before I'm like there. That's cool, but that to me means that like any sort of like NPC towns or structures or anything like that, like there's not going to be a bunch of loading screens, because how do you do that with your friends? Like it's kind of like the problem with like games they've always done before, where like every door is a loading screen.
Yep.
And, like, so how do you control that with multiple players? Do you just have them phasing through doors that barely open?
Right.
Anyways, they did say you could build your camp, and then he said you can move it wherever you want.
With the little camp.
The camp system.
Kit.
Oh, okay.
There's like it stands for something. It's called like camps or tents or something. I don't know.
It's called camp, like
Okay.
CAMP.
Okay.
It seemed to me like that was like basic base construction though as well. So I don't know. Like, is it just a camp that with like a fire and a place to sleep, or do you do things there? Or can you build larger like camps with defenses and stuff, and then be like, well, we got to get out of Dodge and just pick up the whole thing. Like, once you've spent your resources on it, can you then, like, put it back together somewhere else? Or
that was what I got from it, or what I was hoping for. I also assumed it was something like, okay, well, your base is destroyed. You can save your camp design or whatever, and like throw your resources into that, and it can like recreate it or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
These are and Todd Howard is a liar, and I don't believe anything he says. And, like, you should all take this with a grain of salt.
We're also worried that this new, just back to it real quick, the new Elder Scrolls is next gen, so we don't know how far out it is, so we're possibly going to have to upgrade our ship between now and then.
Yep, but that's okay. I mean, they're working on Starfield comes first. They've said that Elder Scrolls won't come out before Starfield, so... we'll see.
Do we have EA notes anywhere?
I don't have EA notes because EA is just sports games.
I mean, it was mainly that. I think we get Anthem.
Anthem, yeah,
looks cool. I think it's Xbox only though.
Yeah, it is. And I'm not gonna do that.
It looks really cool.
I know someone that has an Xbox One, and I'm just gonna like I know they're gonna get Anthem, so I'm just gonna go hang out with them when they get it. It's one of those games where I'm not gonna purchase the console just for this game.
Yeah. No, but that was they did Anthem. Oh, Microsoft also did because we were talking about we don't really have EA or Microsoft, right?
No.
Okay. I'll shout through what I remember real quick because I did watch them. Yeah, EA, we're getting another. Of course, you do the good old FIFA.
Oh yeah,
the Fifi.
Yep.
Yeah, you gotta get your Fifi on. So if you're into FIFA, that's cool. I'm not in sports games, so that's why EA kind of.
Yeah.
I think we're getting. They announced the Crew 2 or whatever. I think it's them. Yeah. Put a lot of emphasis on Crackdown that's been in development forever.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm doing Microsoft and EA at the same time.
It's okay.
It doesn't matter. It's the same shit.
Yeah.
It almost is. I'm trying. There was something else that I was like, oh, cool. EA did their No Man's Skylanders.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they did their, they're gonna have, for those of you who don't know, it's called,
You've forgotten the name of this, too.
It's just, I hate when I do this. Either way, for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, I can,
is it Star something?
Star. It's Star something.
Persona 5 Dancing in Starlight.
That's what it is. Totally getting that.
Starlink Battle for Atlas. I don't know. I don't know. Those are the only...
Starlink. It's Starlink.
Okay.
It's Starlink. That's it. The Starlink Battle for Atlas. People are, like I said, jokingly referring to it as No Man's Skylanders.
Okay.
Skylanders being the series where you had to, buy toys to get characters in the game.
Yeah.
This, you get to build your own little ship to fly through space, and supposedly it's like a huge universe.
Mm-hmm.
But you get, you have to buy individual toys to, get... That's the way it looks to me.
Weapons and
yeah,
stuff?
yeah. So, if you want badass rocket launchers, you have to go buy the toy that has the badass rocket launchers and then equip them to your ship. And they, straight up were and we're bringing in Star Fox.
Well, good for them.
And then they showed off, a new version of the R-Wing for this game, and people kind of were like, yay.
Well, good for them.
And, yeah. We're not going to do a good Star Fox game. We haven't been able to do a good Star Fox game since Nintendo 64.
Since the 64, yeah.
So, but we'll let this other company use Star Fox in their space game. Maybe it'll be good.
Probably not. I mean, not when you have to buy.
Yeah.
Toys for it.
But
the thing about those toy games is that Skylanders does well because it has a child player base. And kids love those little toys, but this isn't a children's game. It doesn't seem like. So.
No, well, it's definitely one of those ones that it's in a style that we're trying to sell to everybody.
Okay.
We definitely will be able to get children whose parents are willing to pay for stuff like this.
Right.
And then we'll be able to get, the whales that are, totally just down for buying new shit.
Is that a fat joke?
No.
Okay.
No, I've heard a lot of people, the people that are totally down with, just nickel and dime me for everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people often refer to them as whales.
Okay.
But, yeah, so.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. But, so it seems like they did that. And then Microsoft was like, hey, we're getting the Kingdom Hearts.
That's right. They
were like, oh, yeah, first time on platform or whatever, because they're I love the announcer voice. World exclusive. Xbox.
Can you imagine
Xbox
being
exclusive.
Yes, sir.
Giant screen screaming down at you in between everything.
Yes,
World
sir.
premiere. But yeah, they were just like, oh, we're getting Kingdom Hearts, so it's not going to be a PlayStation exclusive. I assume a lot of people were probably worried about that, because there's a lot of people that are console gamers that were big time PS2, maybe even PS3, but have eventually moved over to Xbox and been like, well, I want my Sora on my Xbox.
Yeah.
I gotta find out where Riku is.
I want to say, I know we've talked about Kingdom Hearts 3. The entire commercial was just homoeroticism. That's all. It was just looking at your twin longingly.
Yeah.
It was kind of weirdly creepy.
I don't know.
It says, my heart is in his heart.
What?
You did it.
Roxas is real. I remember that line, and I was like, oh, I never knew he wasn't. I don't know what happened to him, but I assumed he started off real. You could die, but that doesn't make you not real anymore. It just makes you dead. Or I'm assuming at this point he's been absorbed. I don't know, and I don't care.
Yeah, the lore on those games is so difficult.
And you gotta play
on everything.
Yeah, even though we're waiting on Kingdom Hearts 3. This is 3, right?
This is 3
that we're waiting on. There have been 6 games.
Surely more than that.
Well, because they put a lot of them on their handhelds, and apparently you've had to keep up with those too. And I don't care.
There's the handhelds, and then each one has 4 different versions, and 2 has 4 different versions. There's 2.5, 2.8, 2.8 final mix, and stop it.
Just give me a game. Anyways, though, so yeah, they did that. I'm trying to think of anything else. Microsoft didn't really wow me. Division was part of EA's as well.
The Division 2...
Don't care.
That Division is Ubisoft.
Is it Ubisoft?
Yeah, it's Ubisoft.
Do we have Ubisoft notes?
I've got a couple.
Okay.
I don't have many, but a couple.
Well, let's just move on to that, because I'm done with EA and Microsoft. I'm getting shit mixed up anyways.
Division 2, so dead player base after 2 months, like the first game, I assume. I don't know. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Looks a lot like Origins. Origins was really good, but I think they're going back to one game a year again.
Yeah, that seems to be the fear.
I mean, they've said, like, okay, well, we've been working on this game like 3 years, and I understand that, but they were working on it concurrently, at least at some point with Origins, and like, oh, it seems very similar to Origins.
No, I didn't finish Origins, but I did put some hours into it. I put somewhere between 10 to 20 hours into it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I played the game as far as to see, like, the systems at work in the game, and I saw, like, I heard a lot of people being like, oh my god, the colors in this one. And I was like, well, it's because the last one didn't have, like, everything was sand.
Yeah, it was all set in Egypt.
So it was, there's a lot of desert and a lot of sand, and in this one we're in Greece.
Yeah, I believe it's Greece. You're a Spartan descendant. You are a Spartan, but, like, you're a descendant of the 300, I think, of Leonidas.
Leonidas, yeah.
And,
the 300.
Yeah, one of the 300.
That was his wrestling name.
But the interesting thing, I guess, with it is you're called a title. I don't remember what the title is, but you can pick between male or female.
And you're playing that character through the whole game, so it's not a swap-off like, was it Unity? Syndicate, sorry. So it's not a swap-off, you're not doing that. I think that you just play that, and it seems like some people will, like, know your name, but, of course, in order to, like, save space in line recordings, they seem to have a title, and there do seem to be tiny conversation trees. I never saw more than, like, 3 options for anything, but there seems to be, like, tiny conversation trees.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to make any fucking difference, because it didn't appear that they did.
I assume it'll kind of be the same as Fallout 4's, like, where, like, nothing really matters because, like...
Well, like, one of them I saw was, like, what did you do with this guy? And the answer was, I killed him. Or I let him go, which was a lie.
Okay,
so you had killed him, and then they chose the I let him go, and then the other character's like, I can't believe you let him go, and they're like, I don't think we'll be hearing from him again, though, and ha ha ha, and it's like, because he's fucking dead, like, so it doesn't matter, like...
I only watched the combat trailer, or combat demo, so I...
It looked cool, but it looked very similar.
Like Origins.
They definitely seem to be doing something different, but I'm just wondering if it's like you had like the whatever they were, the limit break moves that you built up.
Yeah.
And it differed on the weapon type.
Yep.
And this one seems to be. I did notice that you're able to like equip up to 4 powers, and they seem to be on the D-pad.
Yeah. And
I don't know if it's going to be like hold. It has to be because it's Assassin's Creed. It has to be like hold like L1 and then D-pad because they already have a ton of shit on the D-pad.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume that's what that's all about. But very samey.
Yeah.
And,
more ship combat, it looks like. Which, if you liked 4, Black Flag, really fun game.
Did we see ship combat?
Yeah.
Okay, so, alright.
That's all I have.
See, that's what I liked about Origins is, like, you got on this tiny boat and then took the fuck off. you had, like... It was the Egyptian version of a jet ski. Like, you just flew across the water. Like, I loved it when they were like, go here, and it's way across this large body of water. I'm like, I'm going to steal somebody's boat, but I'm going to be nice.
Let them stay on it.
Yeah, let them stay on it. They just have to go where I'm going for a little bit, and then they can have their boat back. And then, like, you just cruise across the water at, like, breakneck speed. The boats are faster than the horses.
Yeah, they are.
And you get to go in a straight line for the most part when you're in the water. So you just zoom across. And now they're like, no, big pirate ships again. I'm like, ah! We get the other pirate ship game that Ubisoft's doing that looks like just that.
Yes, I want that. I can't remember. It's called like Skull and Bones or something. Yeah. I want it real bad.
I believe that's exactly what it's called. And it looks fun if you like that combat.
Yeah.
I heard somebody... else that was there and got to play it, and I can't remember exactly who, because I've watched so many people over the past few days talk about shit at E3.
Yeah.
But somebody was just like comparing it to like Sea of Thieves, of course.
Interesting, yeah.
Because they're both the pirate games.
Yeah.
Whereas Sea of Thieves is I'm going to get together with my friends, and it's kind of a process to play Sea of Thieves. Like, we all got to get together on the boat, and like, one person is driving the boat, and then the other person is like getting ready, manning the cannons, and you got a guy in the crow's nest, and you're having fun and talking, and the one dude's like getting drunk and playing his accordion and vomiting on people.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is very much like, okay, no, you're gonna go fight another ship.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem. It seems like a single player controls one ship.
I assume so. I assume you can get like little fleets together and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, if we can do fleets of ships, then that's cool. If it's just like if it's like what is the game? War of Tanks or whatever?
World of Tanks.
World of Tanks.
Yeah.
If it's World of Tanks with boats that look shinier, then I'm gonna be a little less interested.
Yeah, of course.
But so anything else?
That's all I got for Ubisoft. I'm sure there were other things, but I wasn't super interested. We got a few we got a few games that I don't associate with like developers. If you want to talk about those, not developers, but like first party games.
Yeah.
Like the Cyberpunk 2077 looks really interesting.
CD Projekt Red finally showed us some stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody keeps saying next gen, and I'm like, not if it looks like what they showed us.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
I think they've been working on this for a long time, and I think that they may. I can totally see if people are right and we're on like the precipice of another gen that we're fixing to have to move into. Which I mean, everybody just assumes we are, even though I think they're like, yeah, we're working on the next Xbox.
Yeah.
And then I think PlayStation's been like tee hee hee, like kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a new one in the works, which there is. There's always a new one in the works. Whether or not you're going to release it anytime soon is the question.
Yeah.
That what I figure they've been working on a long time. I can see it being one of those. They're like, oh, like there will be a version that comes out on the next gen, and people will be like, it's the next gen experience, and I'm like, well, then why is it still running on the old gen? Like, they did a lot of that this last time.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, there was a few of them that I played on the last gen and was like, this is shit. Which, I mean, you got to play, I never did, but you got to play last gen Metal Gear 5, and then
it was the last game I got for PS3.
And then the only one I played was on the PS4, and you've seen them both. And
massive difference.
Massive, okay.
Massive difference.
All right, so...
But yeah, Cyberpunk looks good. It's not Geralt, but, you know, what are you going to do?
I mean, it's a game from those people. Yeah. They kind of been like, we don't want to do Geralt right now.
They're done with Geralt, I think. Yeah, I think they're done with
I never assume anybody's done with, like, a super, like... If like, say, like, Bethesda came out next year and they're like, we're not working on any Fallout whatsoever. There's no development Fallout. There's no development Elder Scrolls. I'm gonna be like, you're fucking lying. There's no way you just walked away for the time being or put your two biggest sellers on a complete... You might have put it on a back burner.
Of course.
But you haven't taken it off the fucking stove.
Of course. What else?
And, yeah.
We got DMC2 Devil May Cry 5.
Ooh, yeah! That did get announced.
With not Dante as the main character, but Dante in the game. And
I believe they announced that with Microsoft, but it's in all platforms. It has to be.
Yeah.
It has been for a while now.
Any speculation on who that character is? It's not Nero.
What?
The character in DMC2 Devil May Cry 5.
That's Nero.
The dude in 4? Is it Nero?
The guy with the robot arm and the short white hair.
Yeah, is that Nero?
I assume it's. I think he has the fucking motorcycle sword.
That's true. Yeah.
So I'm just like, it's Nero, and they've just redesigned him because I mean, like, I don't know if you noticed, but like depending on which version you watched, you didn't get to see a good picture of when they kept doing the fucking camera draws back at the end, but then there's still more to the trailer. Yeah. But they want to show you their awesome fucking stage that they spent a lot of time and money on. And they drew away, so I went in and looked at somewhere else to where it wasn't drawn away. I went and saw the trailer itself, and they teased Dante at the end, and he's riding a motorcycle, and they do a close up of his face, and it looked like fucking white-haired Norman Reedus, like
kind of, yeah,
like he's grizzled, he hasn't aged super well,
yeah.
But they said they were like, oh, these people are real actors, so they're basing them
Oh, that's cool.
Make them. They said like the clothes and characters are all like scanned from real things.
I didn't know that. That's
cool. So they said they wanted to make them as realistic as possible, which I'm like, okay, whatever. It's Devil May Cry. Like,
just let me fucking play as Dante again. Like I didn't like.
I think
4.
we're going to.
I mean, I hope so.
As long as it's not 4, which 4 was like. I liked 4, but 4 was like, we're going to make you play as this new guy, and I liked Nero, and then we're going to switch you off and make you play as Dante, and what you do as Dante is play through a lot of the stages backwards.
Yep.
And I was not down with that, so totally down for playing as both of them, but please don't make me, like, reverse the game at one point and be like, do it backwards with new enemies. I'm like, but I've been here, I've done this, it's not the same. But yeah, we got that. I'm semi-excited.
I mean, well, it's Devil May Cry. I love Devil May Cry, but, like, I'm always... I've been apprehensive since 4. So.
Yeah, well, it's like, I liked 4, so I'm willing to see, like, what people, when they play it, is going to be like, this is, like, 4, this is, like, 3, or this is, like, the reboot. Like, that's the 3 I think people are going to go to.
Yeah.
And if it's, like, 4 or, like, 3, then I'm excited. If it's, like, reboot...
Yeah.
Which, I mean, a lot of people are like, well, Reboot was like the same combat, and not really.
It wasn't. I know people that love
Not
it.
when you gave me an Ikaruga system. Change color to fight different enemies.
No.
Some people really liked it. I was not impressed.
I wanted to defer to you on Dying Light 2 because you like Dying Light.
Love Dying Light. That's happening?
I mean, it's a real thing that's happening.
No, I'm saying, like, that's all
Okay.
I remember them showing it off, but I remember being like, well, it looks like Dying Light.
Yeah, it just looks like more Dying Light.
I mean, they showed off some... I was impressed by the climbing. Because there was... especially like old school Assassin's Creed, like, it was very much like where you can find a handhold as a handhold.
Yep.
And that's how you scale things, whereas, like, I felt like in the first Dying Light, it was very much, well, where is there, like, a full ledge? Jump from ledge to ledge, climb up ledge to get to ledge to climb up. You know, like, and this one had people, like, hitting walls and then, like, actually being able to, like, grab different things and use handholds to get up the wall.
Yeah, instead of trying to, like, be, like, can I climb up this and jumping and sailing?
So the parkour, the climbing, that looked better. Everything else looked very similar. I saw some impressive gore.
Yeah.
If I remember right, the original one had gore that I thought was impressive.
Yeah, definitely.
There were certain gore aspects where I was like, that's really nice. I enjoy good gore.
Oh, yeah, of course.
A lot of people will be like, oh, Doom is the goriest, and I'm like, no,
It's
like,
not.
Doom is over the top. You just you fatality it, but then it, like, it kind of disappears. Like,
right.
A lot of people complained about that, and a lot of people said that was a stupid complaint, and I was like, no, with as much action as there is in Doom, I want, like, a trail of corpses. Yeah. And that would have made it, like, even more visceral to me if, like, the damage I had done was still laying around afterwards and not just disappearing. And anyways, so this looks good. If you like Dying Light, I think what I saw was enough for me to be like, well, I'm probably gonna play it eventually.
It looks interesting, for sure.
My only problem with the original Dying Light, I mean, there were certain control issues and stuff like that. But I felt very much like once you finished Dying Light, you were done. And that's always a bad thing to me in a game.
Oh, I mean,
when you complete the main campaign, there's some side shit to go back and do, so you can do that, but, like, even then, there's not enough around that you wouldn't have already done to get experience, throughout your normal progress of the game, that once you finish the main campaign, there's very little to go back for, and even if you do go back for the things you missed, once you get done with that, you're done.
Okay. That's unfortunate. I hate to see that happen with games. We got Metro Exodus, which looks really good.
Metro Exodus looks great. I was a little weirded out, though, because they showed gas mask, but at the same time, they kept showing people above ground without gas mask.
Yeah, it looks like you're spending a lot of time above ground.
And, I really feel like they just did that to show off, because this one's supposed to be more open world.
Oh, really?
That's what I've heard. That's what I keep hearing, and I really feel like they were like, no, we're showing you the open world part.
Okay.
what I'm hoping for as an open world is that there are huge like open world segments that are connected through tunnels, the metro, which the game is named after.
Yeah.
And that there are like even multiple metro like pathways to get from like A to B, like, you know, like you're in one area and you need to go to another, but instead of like having to go to the one specific spot where you go underground, there's maybe 2 or 3 that lead to, you know, a main metro system. And like eventually after you've played through the game and like maybe unlocked like shortcut type things, you know, or something like that, you can eventually like go underground and then travel across the map, you know, using that as a transport system rather than like just being like, well, quick travel as you go, like a lot of open world games do. You could do some quick travel, but maybe only to major hubs, and then like Dark Souls 1, you can only go to specific bonfires and you have to find your way from there.
Yeah. I think they said the game is, and I could be wrong, I may be wrong here, but I think it said the game is set in 2066, so the last one was
Yes.
2044?
Yeah, because people have made the joke of the, no, it's, which one's Fallout? Fallout
2076.
It's 76, and then this one is...
It would be 2076, because the last was 2044.
Oh, no, because people were comparing the dates to that, and then Cyberpunk, which is like...
2077.
Yeah, and they were like, oh, look at the progress. Like... anyways, I was on the wrong joke there, but
it's okay.
Yeah, there was a date on it, but this one's just Exodus.
Yeah.
You're still playing as the same character, apparently.
Artyom is going to be real old.
Yeah. At
least 20 years older.
You just, like, this is a world that you don't become a grandpa in, like.
Well, no, of course not.
There's just too much radiation. Like you're especially him. He's exposed himself to more than the average person because he doesn't live in one train station his whole life. Like so, like he's been above ground and fought like irradiated bears and shit. Yeah, and so. That's gonna be weird.
Yeah, I mean, how do you make it to be that old? I don't know, but
or maybe there's a surprise and they threw the one call out to the one name that we know from the series into there, and then when the game releases, they'll be like, surprise!
It's a different player character. Artyom is quite hardy, and he has special things that go on with it. Oh,
yeah, he's hung out with aliens. What? Okay, anyways. Sorry, we got sidetracked there. Something strange happened. So what's next?
Well, we got... This would be with Bethesda, but we got the Prey Moon Crash DLC, which I don't know if that's out yet or not.
The what now?
Prey...
Oh, yes, we got... No, I think they said it's out right now.
Okay.
Which seems to be like a roguelike type thing where you run a simulation, and it seems to me that either you A, mess up, or B, die. I think it's when you die, you start the whole thing over. Yeah. And I'm assuming there's some sort of progression system that isn't just like, well, now I know where the enemies are.
I assume so.
So run the route again. Like, I don't know if you level up or if you bring certain items back with you, but it seems to be a live, die, repeat kind of thing. So it sounds interesting. I really liked Prey. You had a hard time with Prey.
I had a hard time with Prey. It was a really hard time.
You have to treat it like an open world game.
But it's not.
Yeah, no, it's a Metroid game. It's a Metroid game where it's better to not fight. That was what was really hard, I think, for you about Prey.
I think so. They did add, and this was for free, not in the Moon Crash DLC. They added New Game Plus and a survival mode. So that's okay. If you like Prey.
And then we've got another DLC coming out later.
I didn't see that one, but
there was one. I'm trying to remember what the premise of it was, but no, they were like, we got one now, and we're putting another. Oh, there's another one. It's a multiplayer mode.
Interesting.
It's a hide and seek mode where like multiple players are mimics and therefore can mimic all the inanimate objects like in the environments, and then one player is supposed to like search out and find them.
That's interesting.
Which to me is cool because it like creates jump scares just through multiplayer. Yeah. And then like there's already a Gary's Mod or whatever it is version of that game basically.
Well, okay. I don't know a lot about Gmod because I'm not a PC gamer anymore, but you can do anything with Gmod.
No, you know what I'm talking
You're
about.
talking about Prop Hunt.
Prop Hunt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have the Prop Hunt, which is part of,
Yeah.
It runs on Source or whatever, and, one team can mimic things, the other team has to find, and it seems to be like a fun idea, and it's not a battle royale, so that's refreshing. As much as I keep saying no, everything battle royale, it's also refreshing to be like, well, we have like this. My only problem is that like a lot of these, there's a name for it. They've been doing them, the Dead by Daylight and the Friday the 13th game, and where it's like you got one monster and then everybody else has to like work as a team to defeat the monster or whatever. And the problem with those is that it's only fun when you're playing with friends, because if you don't have like your friends there talking, and like you don't also have the friend that's playing the monster talking to you, like teasing you and stuff, like it's not as fun.
Yeah, of course.
So so I'm interested. It sounds like a fun mode. I like Prey, so I'm down for more. Like they popped the Prey logo up, and I was like, oh, Prey 2 that
already.
It was just because I didn't think that it did as well, and I think that. It is a good game. That's one of those games that it came out. I think that it was a really good game. It didn't do as well. It wasn't as, for the same reason that I think you and a lot of other people had problems with it, where it's like, it's a very like old System Shock or old like Deus Ex game.
Right.
Although, I mean, Deus Ex is still Deus Ex, but like, people like those ones better somehow. I think it's just because you're a cool guy.
You're edgy,
yeah, you got a pointy fucking chin beard and glasses built into your head.
Yeah, and you can make choices that don't really matter.
But I did feel like the choices you made in Prey actually kind of mattered.
Yeah, even though I didn't finish it, I felt the same way.
But anyways, I like Prey. I thought they were doing a Prey 2. I was like, I would like a Prey 2, but it seems a little soon. So I'm glad to see that they're like, well, no, we're going to go back to the well, because we made a good game that people didn't really play as much. So we're going to give it new modes to hopefully maybe draw people back to it, and then also draw people like new people possibly to it. If their friends are playing a multiplayer mode, then you might go out and get the game on the cheap now, so that you can buy the multiplayer mode so that you can play with your friends.
Definitely,
I absolutely guarantee that before that, or around the time that DLC comes out, like digitally, it goes on sale.
Oh, I'm sure. Like
the base game goes on sale. But anyways, so yeah, that was that.
Before we get to Sony, the only other thing I've got to talk about is Days Gone, which is that a Sony game? Is that an exclusive?
I believe that is an exclusive.
Okay, well we're into Sony now then.
I don't know, or a timed exclusive.
Okay.
I did notice, and I can't remember what it was they said, but they even on the Microsoft thing, they did a thing that they were like, they didn't say timed exclusive, but they said like exclusive on launch, which to me, or something along those lines, to where as soon as they didn't say timed exclusive, but as soon as they said it, I was like, well, that means timed exclusive. Yeah. Like you can only get it here, and then 6 months later you can buy it on the other, or whatever, however long they decide to wait. And I don't remember what that was, but I did catch that.
It's Kingdom Hearts 3. Fuck you, Sony fans.
Whoa. There's people that bought the PlayStation 4 2 years ago because they thought they were getting Kingdom Hearts 3. It's just collecting dust until Kingdom Hearts 3. I did. People that are Kingdom. I knew a guy that was a Kingdom Hearts fan. He played like 1 and 2, and then but didn't ever get to play any of the newer versions. And like he got married, and then very soon after found out he was going to become a father, and like because apparently he decided I'm not going to be able to ever play video games, or I'm not going to have time working and being a father and a husband. So his thing was he went out and he got the HD remix 2.5 whatever the latest that was out at the time, and then just cruised through it. And was like, I got to do that, so like I feel like I got like that childhood dream out of my way. And I was like, they're doing another one. He was like, I don't want to think about it. But so like that's how much like some people like he was just like, oh no, I went out and like bought like a PlayStation to do this one last thing. So I know there's other people that were like, well, I went out and got it because it's coming.
Oh, I'm sure. Days Gone looks interesting. I mean, we've seen like the massive hordes of zombies like months ago. I think last year at E3 we got that trailer where like there's just a giant horde of zombies, and this time you got to see a little bit more sneaking and like taking out enemies solo and stuff like that.
But they've showed that off before too.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, like the raiding the enemy camp of humans that aren't zombies. Like they showed this, like him like cruising to a location because it's all you do everything on a motorcycle. Yep. Looks like you're part of a biker peoples.
Yeah, you're a bounty hunter.
And then he'd like cruise out to a place, find a place to stash his bike, and then like sneak in on the enemy camp and do a little bit more stealthy stuff that's not running away from the World War Z-esque flood of zombies. Yeah. Which is the only thing is like I really like the amount of like all these zombies rushing towards you, but every time I see it I think of World War Z and that makes me sad. The movie.
Yeah, because the book was so good.
The book was fun.
Yeah.
Anyways, but what I don't feel like you saw that, so you got to see. I swear I saw that last year, and I know I didn't see it this year. Him doing an enemy camp of some sort. So, excuse me. But I'm still waiting on it. It looks really interesting, and I'm really waiting for it to come out, and I want to find out exactly what the gameplay loop of it's going to be.
Yeah, I agree.
And but they didn't show us a lot more. But
no.
I'll keep my ear to the ground for it.
I mean, it looks really good, but it I do want to see more of it. So
yeah, and then so there's that. What else we got on Sony?
We got a lot of stuff. I mean, not a lot of stuff, but a lot, a lot to talk about. We got Sony started off with Sean Layton came out and he had a man play banjo for like 5 minutes. I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, they did a weird thing with that was very much for the people that were there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I will say from this year, I mean, they did that, and then they had another guy later on come out and play a flute.
I liked his a lot more.
Either way, though, like they did that. They used those as pauses, but the one thing I can say to like everybody is everybody jumped on the Sony train of doing things to where, for better and worse, but for the most, I think better, we're just going to show you trailers back to back. Like, we're just going to pop through this. We're not going to, this is not a 4-hour presentation where we have to send somebody out to talk. They did do that, but, you know, it's not like, you don't need somebody from every game studio coming and announcing their game. We're going to rapid fire, you know. Some of it, you know about, some of it we're going to surprise you with. Sony, other than the 2 instrumental moments that I remember,
it was pretty much all trailers.
It was pretty much all trailers, yeah.
Man, we did get to see that Last of Us 2 though, and I was skeptical. I'm pretty interested now.
I really liked the first one, so I've been ready for the second one. Yeah. And like my only complaint about the first one was probably like some of the shooting aspects and how they just didn't work as well as they needed to. But I've also heard that about the earlier Uncharted games, which Naughty Dog also does. Yes. And then I've also heard the later Uncharted games they fixed. Yep. Which they fixed it in one that came out after the original Last of Us. So I'm hoping that translates over and that's not a problem. And in order to pull off some of the shooting and sneaking that they were doing in that, it has to work. It can't be fidgety.
It looks really smooth.
It looks really smooth. I'm really wondering, like, what the likelihood of you running through scenarios in the way that they did, because stealth was an option in the first one, but there was a lot of times where like stealth worked for like especially fighting human targets. Like you stealthed your first couple and then you got noticed and then it became a shootout. Yep. And this one was very much not a shootout. It
was really stealthy.
Really stealthy. A lot of melee mixed with the shooting. Obviously, like, only shooting when it's like, oh, if I don't shoot this person now, then...
Like, they're going to see me.
Yeah, they're going to see me, or they've already seen me and they're fixing to shoot me, like, they got a gun, so I'll shoot them first kind of thing, but immediately after that, like, booking it out of there and then hiding again and then going back into stealth.
There was a scene in the trailer that I thought, well, like, it wasn't a scene, it was... they were playing, but like they're like in this convenience store or gas station or something, and she like, it's very clear that there are different paths you can take in that game, different play styles. Like there was one part where like it's Ellie could have like left this gas station or wherever, but the person playing chose to stay and like kill these like 6 enemies. It's pretty brutal.
I feel like she's after them for a reason, though.
That's
like,
true.
It wasn't like a
survival.
Survival. I have to kill these people. Like, yeah, you could. I think. And from the first trailer that they showed last year, I really feel like Ellie's got some sort of vendetta for some reason. So
yeah,
because she played the song about killing them all. So I'm gonna say that that's gonna be a part of this story.
The speculation is that maybe I've seen some speculation anyway. That's like maybe Joel is dead. Maybe like he just like appears to her and like she sees him sometime. It's really like pointless to speculate, but
I've heard that, and I don't think that's a thing.
I don't either.
I think like it's further along in the story, so there's these communities of people, and maybe Joel is off doing other things. We're gonna come across him, or I mean, I don't think they're gonna take Joel's death away from us by being like, in between games, he died.
They'll do that.
I mean, they may very well, but like the whole like Joel isn't. Ellie's gone crazy, and Joel is a ghost because there's no ghosts anywhere else.
Yeah.
So this isn't a ghost story.
Yeah.
So if there are ghosts, it's because she's losing it.
Yeah.
But looked really, really good. We got to see. I believe we just saw gameplay of Death Stranding.
Yeah, definitely.
I believe we saw, which most of that gameplay seemed to be a lot of traveling.
Yep.
So we're going to be doing a lot of traveling with little floaty sleds behind us.
These little guys, I don't know if they're like robots or... I
think it's like the things they use in Star Trek, the like anti-gravity sleds that they use to like transport stuff. It's a floaty, it's a hover sled that you just, it creates an air cushion and it just, so it's easy to pull heavy things and because they showed them with like a train of them behind them and then also like one on your back. And,
why are we transporting so many various things? That's what because at one point you had a person on your back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had, correction, I believe that was a corpse on you were carrying a dead body somewhere. But I think that's going to be something they definitely put there to make you ask that question because that's going to be something you do for a reason in the game. We saw a lot of things. I have like little theories here and there. Because they actually gave us some information about the monsters, whatever they are. Yeah. They said, like, because we were like, as another world presence, we still don't know exactly where they came from or what they are, but we do know that, like, what we saw in the other trailers is that if, like, they come in contact with something, then they, like, fast forward it, they age it.
Yes.
Because it stepped on a picture and then, like, showed, like, one particular person afterwards had faded from the picture.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, like, now that this picture was taken sooner than it was before, right. So now this other person, I'm assuming is somebody that's died, doesn't exist in the photo. Right. So, like, they do a weird thing. So, like, we've seen them do it to bodies, to people. They seem to collect bodies. We saw that in the first trailers. There was a body in a body bag, and it was like the first thing that went before they like grabbed a human. We've seen more of the people holding their breath when they're around. Mm-hmm. And then we saw the little flappy thing that we saw in the first trailer is like actually like a thing that's almost like your radar. If you get too close to them, you can see them. And it seems like you can sneak around them, like even though you're like, it's not Metal Gear where you're hiding behind boxes and walls and stuff, but it's like being very silent, slow, and then like not coming in contact with them. I'm gonna say that they're from another plane of existence of some sort. Like I don't think they. My
guess was like another dimension that's coming in contact with ours.
Yeah, there definitely seems to be some other kind of dimension thing at play. But yeah, we saw that, and then we saw, we saw a lot of traveling and a little bit of stealth. And I believe we saw gameplay, and the engine they're running on, it looked pretty, it's very drab, but I think it's supposed to be, and it's one of those things that after the game comes out, everybody's like, well, it's all gray, and I'm like, well, yeah, it's supposed to be.
Well, yeah.
Everything's wet because everything so far has looked wet.
Yeah,
which is funny because like they like show like ocean beds dried up, but somehow everything is wet.
It's rainy. I wanted to bring up two things about Death Stranding. The first one is that little flappy thing seems to be powered by the baby.
Or somehow connected to baby,
somehow connected to the baby, because he's like, hey, wake up, baby, and he taps his stomach. And,
well, wasn't it? He's got it in a jar. He's got it in the same kind of jar that Guillermo del Toro did before. Yeah. And Guillermo del Toro did a thing where he, like, hooked himself to the baby.
Yep.
And in this one, we see, like, the reverse, where it's, like, obviously, like, there's a tube coming out of a baby, and then he, like, has a needle-looking thing that he, like, jams somewhere. Like, we can't tell, but we can tell it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then somehow this flappy thing started working, and now he can detect ghosts at a range. I'm just going to say ghosts for now. I don't know what they are. But then they all have an umbilical cord. It seems like they are constantly connected to something when you see them. When you catch glimpses of them here and there, they definitely seem to be. Which the whole Death Stranding, like, we've seen people linking themselves to babies. We've seen that these things seem to have an umbilical cord. We saw in one of the early trailers, like, the guy with his dead people soldiers that were all connected to him.
Yep.
That, you know, he, like, released them from his things, and then they all took off, and then we've seen the weird vine cable thing spreading along the ground in the Guillermo del Toro part.
Yep.
So, everything is about strands, so whatever this is, Kojima's gonna make it all connect somehow.
Oh, it will, definitely.
I think we won't know until 6 games from now what exactly the fuck is going on.
When he makes a deal with Microsoft, he's not with Sony anymore. And the other thing I wanted to bring up, and this is just my speculation, is perhaps all the boxes and stuff are like, you're not boxes, your backpack and the things you're, like, trailing behind you. Like, maybe the more items you get in game, just the more shit you have to carry. Like, you realistically, like, your pack gets bigger.
And then also, like, possibly, like, that affecting your movement speed and stuff like that. Like, maybe when you get into a tense situation, you may have to choose between, like...
Do I have to leave my stuff behind?
Yeah, because because it's called Death Stranding and everything's connected, I don't think you die and it's a game over in this.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely feel like that's not like a... You died and then someone comes over a radio and is like, read us! Like, that's not going to happen. I think that it's going to be... I hate to always...
the Hunter's Dream.
You go back to the Hunter's Dream, you go back to the last bonfire. I don't know. Yeah. Like, I don't want to say Dark Souls-esque, but I want to say that, like, maybe...
You get a second chance of some sort, and it's not just like, go back to checkpoint.
Yeah. Well, you know, that game, The Forest, does an interesting thing where if the first time you die, you don't die, you get captured, and then they take you to the caves.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you lose your stuff or whatever, but you have to, like... You now, like, your second chance is working your way out of the cave. Yeah. If you die before you get back to your home, then that's a real death. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to... I don't know, but I just get the feeling that it's... Like, they show a death in this trailer, or what we assume is a death.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't good. He got sucked into the black goo. But he didn't start immediately aging like everything else, so I'm wondering if there's either not something special about Norman Reedus' character, or, like... He's earlier, he'd be like, I got an idea. So, like, maybe he's just figured something else out, like, and something to do with the baby, but we don't know. We have no idea. It's all connected. I'm just going to say that I already know that, and that even if it doesn't make sense, Kojima's going to be like, no, it's all connected.
Yeah, it's...
That was my theme behind this game when I started, was...
Well, that's a given. Like, anything Kojima is always connected, even if it's just by nanomachines. Like, it's all connected.
It's all nanomachines. That's what this one is. They're clouds of nanomachines. They're not otherworld beings. Like, and they have to keep, like, a string of nanomachines back to the main source. Boom, I just spoiled it for everybody.
Now, we did get to see 2 new characters that we haven't seen before.
We saw ladies, but we
ladies.
saw a lady that was, like, hanging out with Norman Reedus, but then after they got done with the bad guy went away, it seemed like she was like, all right, good luck, Charlie, and, like, went about her own path. So I'm assuming there's a character you're gonna, like, sometimes come in contact with, and then maybe meet an Eve, where, like, they go off and do their own thing, and then, like, eventually you run back into them again. What was the other lady?
The lady at the end who was like, don't you know who I am?
Oh, no, see, that lady right there, that lady is the demon lady.
Well, I saw her and I was like, oh, she's a cutie, but I don't know who she is.
No, because she's connected to the weird shit going on with Norman Reedus, like, and possibly whatever these otherly worldly beings are. Because, like, the whole line, like, the way she's, like, standing on, I think, the edge of the ocean or whatever, and she turns around, and she's just like, do you not know who I am? And I'm like, oh, you're the demon lady. I don't understand the bad guys in this, but if we say that there's some kind of demon, then you're the demon lady. You're the ex-dead girlfriend that's gonna bitch at me the whole game.
You took my baby from me.
No. Well, the Dead Space girlfriend. I know my girlfriend's dead.
Yeah.
But she keeps showing up, and she's the worst ex-girlfriend ever. Because I can't get rid of her, and every time she shows up, I have no idea what I'm going to get.
Well, I mean, Dylan brings up a good point. Maybe the baby is somehow connected to her, because they have released 3 new posters for this game, and in one of them, she is holding the baby. So...
Well, okay, so in the first trailer, we saw him with a cesarean scar.
Yep.
And I'm wondering if, like, these babies that people have, if, like, it's, like, your baby is your baby, like, literally. Like, it doesn't matter male or female, your baby is your baby. Like, we've... Trying to combat this thing with weird science, we've, like, everybody grows a baby inside themselves that is, like, somehow half of your soul or some weird shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
And that you keep it, and then maybe it is, though. Maybe she is connected to Norman Reedus' fetus. Because we saw in the first trailer him, like, find a baby and be like, oh, I love the baby, and, like, cry, and then the baby, like, into ink.
Yeah, it's not his baby.
And maybe his baby has been taken away, and he's found a way to survive with someone else's baby?
Maybe.
I don't know. It's all fucking speculation.
Yeah.
We don't know anything.
We can talk about this all night.
We kind of have.
We've been talking about this for, like, 30 minutes.
So... Let me run through. The mocap on it was great.
Yeah.
The facial animations, dialogue seemed fine. Looks good. Floating backpack, cube robot things. No. Did we get a release date? No release date.
Nope.
No release date. Wasn't expecting a release date. Glad they gave us a little bit more and showed us that there is an actual game underneath it all that isn't just like 45-minute cutscenes and then like 10 minutes of gameplay where you sneak to the next thing.
Yeah.
Although that may totally happen. It seems like there's a lot of on-foot traveling that I'm assuming you will run into, I'm hoping, random situations where you come across these other things and you're like, shit, I gotta sneak around and I may like have to leave my stuff. I may have to come back for it later. Like something.
Yeah.
Nothing seemed like corridored off, so I'm assuming open world. Or
at
least for the most part,
mostly,
open world.
Yeah.
He seemed to be happy with open world in MGS5, so I'm just gonna go with that.
A lot of climbing up mountains in that.
Yeah, a lot of walking up hills. I saw a lot of walking up hills, but I saw a lot of different animations for walking up hills, so I'm cool.
What else? Because we gotta get off this. We're coming up on 2 hours. We got to see Destiny for PlayStation. Who cares? Like, do you care?
New Destiny.
Yeah.
Just more Destiny.
Yeah.
It wasn't even new Destiny. It's add-on to last Destiny that has been consistent.
Well.
I believe they announced DLC. I could be wrong. It looked like it was the next chapter in the Destiny 2 franchise, and Destiny 2 has been failing upwards somehow since it released. So I don't have any interest in it. I don't just... Like, if anybody was like, I want to go buy Destiny, I was like, save your money and time.
Oh, God, yeah.
Please. Yeah. Go buy Ark. You want a time sink?
Oh, yeah. At least Ark makes you feel rewarded.
Yeah, and at least, like, you have, like, proof. Like, you have a giant base and a bunch of dinosaurs, you're like, well, this is where all my time went. Instead of running the raid 10 times. Yeah. And then realizing that after you've ran it so many times, your chances of getting the thing that you didn't get in the first place are now dropping. Because they want you to wait and come back tomorrow and rerun it because we want you to play tomorrow.
Well, you have to keep playing. It's Destiny.
I have to keep playing Ark because I got to show back up and feed my dinosaurs.
Well, you have to feed your stuff, so that it stays alive.
But I could still leave for a couple of days if I did it right and not worry about it. Anyways, I'm not going to talk about Ark and Destiny anymore, but like, They showed more Destiny, and whether or not it's DLC or whether or not it's 3, I swear it was just DLC. Either way, I don't give shit. Yeah, and 2 came out. Suggest nobody else gives shit either.
Yeah, don't care about Destiny. I only have 3 more things I want to talk about.
Okay. Well, we'll do that.
One of them doesn't really matter, but Justin Roiland's new game, Trover Saves the Universe.
I remember that title, and I was like, that looks interesting.
It's Justin Roiland, of course, co-creator of Rick and Morty.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't look like a full game.
I'm not going to... Well, I mean, like... I might get it. I don't know.
It looked like... Was it running on mobile? No, the character had a controller. It looked like a mobile game to me.
I mean, they presented with Sony, so I'm not sure.
I don't know. Something about it made me think mobile. But I was like, okay, like it's gonna have that style of comedy, but it's not gonna be your Rick and Morty game,
right?
And even if it was your Rick and Morty game, I would still be like half eye roll to it.
Yeah,
because like I like Rick and Morty, I don't want to talk about Rick and Morty.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to watch the show, and I want everybody else to shut up so that I can keep enjoying it.
But there was that. I mean, I like Justin Roiland. I like Dan Harmon. It's not something I'm going to spend $60 on, though.
No. What else you got?
I got Ghosts of Tsushima.
Oh, yeah, we hadn't talked about that. That was in some of my notes earlier, and I totally meant to go over it, but I was like, oh, I don't want to yet because we're already on something.
It looks so pretty.
Ghosts of Tsushima looks great.
It looks like the samurai movie I've always wanted to play.
Yeah, we got that, and that looks really great. The fight scene they showed,
that like epic,
where you squared off against, because they showed him clear a room, and he had it looked like what's other games it makes me think of? Almost like a Shinobi type thing, to where if you got your reaction time down and get the drop on them, you can get like a multiple kill streak really quickly. Which is, to me, that's like how an actual badass swordsman would kind of operate. He wouldn't have like a massive battle with 3 dudes. Like,
no, of course.
He would be dead if that's what he got himself into. He would take out like as many dudes as possible really quickly.
Yeah.
But then they do have the one-on-one fight that was beautiful. Like,
it was so pretty. Yeah.
You could tell it was an engine. The red leaves everywhere that even my colorblind ass was like, those are red leaves. Like flowing around you, and not in a like normal video game fashion.
Right,
like,
it's really good.
You're not just disturbing the leaves; like they're moving around you, your body. It looked like as they're dashing around each other and running, it looks like you're creating a slight wind that is carrying it away from you.
Right.
And then they're getting kicked up by the feet. And of course they had that set up with a nice sun in the background, the setting sun in the background, and then they tease with them, I guess, being like, well, we can't kill each other because all the other dudes are on the way and we got to kill them or they'll kill us both. And then they like square off against what looked like a lot of dudes, and I'm like, that's what I really want to see. And then they were like, no more.
It cuts immediately. Yeah.
But it looks beautiful. I'm super excited for it. That did bring me to another thing we didn't talk about, which is The Shadows Die Twice.
Yeah, I still haven't watched the trailer for that.
I don't know what to make of it. This is the new FromSoft. Yep. They teased it a while back. People were like, oh, it's Bloodborne. Other people were like, oh, it's Tenchu. Some people thought it was like something, because they teased Bloodborne and Dark Souls, and then they teased something else. You run into like that one character that doesn't fit into that universe.
Yeah. And
they teased this other character in Bloodborne, and maybe he is. We don't know. But we won't know until we see more of the game. But I don't know, because like there were certain things where I was like, okay, well, this is Bloodborne or this is Dark Souls. This is a FromSoft game.
Yep.
And then there were other things to where I was like, this is like the movement around, and there's a lot of stuff that was going on that was way too fast. That was definitely more of a like counter system, and not like in the others with like a parry, but like almost like. There were no I'm not saying they're quick time events, but there were like kills and stuff, like glory kill type things that I saw going on, that I'm like, well, that's not a backstab, that's not a parry strike, and that's not a drop kill. That's something else that you went into.
Okay.
Very fast paced. So I don't know. Like a lot of people, because it's FromSoft, they're just like, well, this is the next Souls game, and there is some aspect of the game of like dying is not death. Yeah, it's not a game over screen. They show that off. They're like, your death will not come easy, and then they show him like die and then get back up, and then beat the shit out of the thing that killed him. So I mean,
I wanted to kind of point out, like, it seems like that character is the like, it doesn't seem like Dark Souls where, like, you build your character. I think that character is, like, the main character of that game.
I'm wondering if it is, or if just everybody will have the crazy arm.
Maybe.
Like, maybe everybody just has the crazy, weird, bloody bone
thing. It looks
metal arm.
I don't know.
I don't know. That does bother me. That's kind of what bothered me in Neo. Like, I was like one of my first. A lot of the other like Souls-like games that have come out, they're like, this is the character you play, and I'm like, that's dumb. And like you have like a standard starting spot, and then you branch out from there. Which, I mean, in Souls, it doesn't matter what you start as.
Yep.
But still, like, to me, it's important to be able to be like, well, I want to start as this class with these stats and this gear.
Yep.
And work my way through the game, whereas this looks... Yeah, you're right, that I don't know, and we won't know.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember if the protagonist was voiced.
I don't recall. I'm not sure.
If he's voiced, then that's probably a definite, yeah. Right. You're either A, or you're picking, like, male and female, and they each have a voice. But they're gonna BioWare it that way, which I hope not. But anyways, they showed some more of that off. It looked awesome. They're showing us gameplay, but it's not gameplay with like prompts and a HUD or if the, you know.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell what exactly controller wise how you're going to be playing this game. There's a lot of things I saw in there, and I was like, well, that's Tenchu. We saw a grappling hook. We saw him like get on a roof. We saw him like sneaking. Like we saw stealth, which has not been a thing in stealth in Souls is like.
Not true stealth, anyway.
It's not stealth. It's like either staying out of the aggro range or like those few enemies that are set up for you to like sneak behind if you walk slowly. Yeah. And this was definitely like, well, no, he's like pressed against a wall or he's up on a roof and nobody sees him or, you know, he's hiding behind a thing. So that's a thing. But it looks really cool. It's from FromSoft, which makes me excited.
It looks Souls-like. So.
It looks, there's definitely some inspiration. I don't know where. I'm wondering if it's like, well, with Bloodborne we changed the formula. You know, like there's a lot of things here that you recognize, but you're not going to play this the same way.
Yep.
And I'm wondering if that's just if it's an even further extension. Like it's going to be more like Bloodborne than Souls. You know, like, whereas they've gone even further away from the original formula.
Right.
But we'll still see some of it, like we know we saw him die and get back up. So
you know, I kind of hope that's what it is. I kind of hope it's a little bit different. I think FromSoft does really good with, like, new ideas, so, like, I hope it's a little bit different than what we've been getting. I still hope it's Souls-like, of course, but...
Well, like, if you compare and I love the Souls series, but if you compare any Souls or Bloodborne to, like, other action games, where a lot of other action games have you running and jumping and climbing up walls or being able to parkour, contextual type, you know, control schemes and stuff like that. And then whenever you compare it to that, while it works for those games, that control scheme is super clunky.
Yes.
It works because, like, your controls are super responsive, so either your block is super responsive, your parry is, your dodge is, like, you know, and the lock-on works for the most part in those games. But I'm really wondering whenever those people are like, well, now we're going to try and have you run, jump, climb up wall, jump off of rooftop onto enemy to initiate combat, like...
how exactly that will work.
Yeah, but but they did do Tenchu a long time ago, and Tenchu worked for the most part.
Yeah.
So I'm down for that. What else do you have?
The last thing I have is Resident Evil 2.
Oh god, I can't believe I even thought about forgetting that.
I mean, we're coming up on 2 hours. I figure we'll spend like an hour on this.
There's not a lot to. I mean, it's once again I could speculate forever.
There's no reason to speculate. It's Resident Evil 2.
Well, no, because I'm talking about in terms of how it's going to be played. There were some leaks early, and it seems like some of those have been confirmed, but they were like not from a trustworthy source, so you never know if somebody just made a bunch of predictions and got 3 right, you know, like so. But no, I gasped. I
remember.
I was not expecting it that was part of Sony, so that was I did Nintendo today, but Sony was like the big thing for me. This is probably the one I'm not gonna pick a winner. I'm definitely gonna say it wasn't Nintendo. It wasn't Nintendo, but like Sony was my favorite. but that's where I got the most, like, that's what I want to play next.
Right, definitely.
Hold on. Tomb Raider's on everything. So, and we'll just skip over it. Tomb Raider, there's a new Tomb Raider. You're going to become the Tomb Raider for the third time, and it's on everything, so whatever.
My favorite thing about the Tomb Raider trailer was, like, you can't be Tomb Raider unless Lara Croft gets stabbed in some way. Mm-hmm. And so we got to see that again.
Oh, no. She, like...
And
it's that mixture of, like, I like it, but I hate how they're like, no, we're going to keep showing it to you because that's what makes this game, is where they were like, I enjoyed the initial reboot, and they were like, we're throwing in some Die Hard there. Like, she's going to get the shit beat out of her. She should have quit a long time ago or died. Yeah. You know, but we're going to have her pull through, and you're going to have to, like, deal with these things. And I'm like, that's cool. So, but by the time they've hit this one, it's like...
Because this is the third one in the new series.
Yeah, and I don't see anything new that made me go, oh, okay. Like, I'll probably end up playing it because I enjoy the series, but I can't be like, oh my god, Tomb Raider!
Yeah, it's kind of more Uncharted. If you want more Uncharted, get Tomb Raider, I guess.
But back to what I'm going to get rid of these notes.
Back to Resident Evil.
Resident Evil 2. I gasped. I wasn't expecting it. I know that there have been hints dropped from Capcom, so it was more... likely, but it was nothing. Like what they did a couple tweets, and I was like, okay, well, cool. Like, you're teasing us. Maybe you're working on something. This could be the only time we ever hear about it because we've been hearing about it since they remade the first one for GameCube. You know, it's been, please remake Resident Evil 2. The fans want it. The fans have made very clear that they want it.
Yep.
And so now we're getting it. Like, I assume, like, I hope this isn't the last time, but what we saw looked good, but what we saw was trailer. It was not, we did not see gameplay. We saw Leon looking like Leon.
Yep.
A little slightly younger Leon than from 4, which makes sense.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We did see some sick zombie looking stuff that was awesome. Like, the zombie looked like, because when they first started rolling it, you don't know that it's Resident Evil until they're like, look at Leon.
Well, yeah.
And so at the very first of the trailer, I was like, oh, is this because there's that new, there is a new Walking Dead game that looks mildly interesting, but all they've ever showed is character trailers, and I have no idea what the gameplay is like.
Yeah.
But, like, when I first saw it, like, and saw, like, the gore and the look of the zombie, I just went, oh, I think this might be the new Walking Dead game. And then they were like, and then they showed Leon's pretty face.
Yeah. Oh, they, like, started, like, panning the camera up, and I saw the RCPD badge, and I was like, this is Resident Evil.
Yeah. I mean, it was about that time, like, once they pan to him and you see the clothes, you're like, oh, that's fucking Leon. Like, his absolutely nonsensical rookie uniform that I don't get, but I'm totally down for seeing him back in it, because I'm just like, I love that game.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2 is in probably my top 5 games of all time, so I'm super excited about this.
I hope it controls over the shoulder like 4.
I'm hoping for that.
I certainly don't want it to control like 2 originally did.
But I mean, there are the rumors that have said it's gonna control like 7.
Oh, like
it's gonna be first person.
Oh, I don't want that. That's spooky.
I mean,
if it's as good, for me.
If it's as good as 7, I don't care. Like if they're like, well, no, we're just gonna redo, and like. But one thing I want to see is what I saw with it, no matter how this game plays. Like one of the things originally when they first did the original Resident Evil 2 was they were like, there's a lot more enemies in this one. Mm-hmm. There's larger areas in this one. So I want to see that translated well, but I also want to see like people who know Resident Evil 2 like the back of their hand, like I do. Be like, okay, well, I know where I am. Like, the game starts, and I know my way to the police station.
Yeah.
Even if it is in first person, because I know that I get past this group of zombies, I go down the street, and I turn down the alley, I get past that group of zombies, and then I'm at the Kendo gun shop.
Yep.
And then, like, I want it to play out like that, but I also want even more of what they did with Resident Evil Remake is that there are just entirely new areas. They did put entirely new areas in the remake of 1, so I want 2, and I want it to play like 2, and I want to recognize it as 2, but I don't want to just play 2 in first person.
Yeah, you want like a few new things, yeah.
Or third person, you know.
Yeah.
Honestly, if they do the third person over the shoulder, I'm absolutely down for rooms that aren't going to have any combat in them switching to the old bullshit camera angles. Just like rooms where you just walk in and pick up like a case of bullets and a notepad.
It just switches to overhead.
It just switches to overhead.
You have to use the tank controls.
Well, even if they do, they won't, because actually there's one thing that actually worked. The Silent Hill Downpour game had moments where they pretty much was all like you could control the camera, look all around you as a 3D, over the shoulder third person game for the most part. But then you would hit rooms that wouldn't have enemies in them, and they would just boop. They would lock that camera to a corner of the room, and it would still follow you because it's a fully 3D game or whatever. Right. And then it would last like 30 seconds while you went through a room, and then you would hit the next hall, and it would snap back. But it was still just kind of a cool feel of like, hey, remember how these games,
like how this used to play?
And we can make a room with no enemies in it, super creepy, just by like this camera placement and the lighting in it, like, and then of course our soundtrack that we love.
Yeah.
Which is also like one of the things we don't need any. They can remake the old music in like higher fidelity, but we don't need any new music.
I doubt that happens, but we'll see.
But that was my biggest excitement because they finally were like, we put money.
Yeah.
There's money being spent on remaking this. Yep. Heaven knows there's canceled Resident Evil games that like will never see the light of day. There's Resident Evil 1.5, there's Resident Evil 3.5. So, like, that's what people refer to them as. So these are, like, games that were in development for a while and then got scrapped but became something else.
Yeah,
so, like, if you go, you can get Resident Evil 1.5 and you go and you play through certain sections that are recognizable but other sections that aren't.
Yeah.
And then there's another female character that is not Claire whatsoever. And then they went back to the drawing board at some point and came back with Leon and Claire and the police station as we know it. And they did the same thing for Resident Evil 4. There was a whole thing before. And then at one point they were creating one of the Resident Evils and accidentally created Devil May Cry. So
yeah, I heard about that.
But it didn't really show a lot of those off. They did the 3.5, the one that became 4 eventually. They did show off, and then it didn't work out. So, I mean, my hopes are high for it. I really want it to be good. I really want it to be faithful, though. And I just... With Resident Evil 7, when I played Resident Evil 7, it was like, oh, they're doing the first-person horror thing, and like when they showed it off, it's the first-person horror thing that everybody's doing, and then you got these guys that are following you that you can't really do anything about, and you have to sneak around the house, and I'm like, I don't want to play Condemned again. But then, like, because I always try to tell people who are like, well, it looked like Condemned, or it looked like this, and I'm like, no, play it for more than an hour, because about an hour in is when you realize, oh shit, this is Resident Evil 1.
It's exactly Resident Evil 1.
It's Resident Evil 1 in first person with, like, better enemies, because they, in a way, make more sense.
I'm happy to go back to the zombies, though, because,
super.
Like, you don't really get zombies in 7. I mean, they're weird. Like
there's the molded.
Yeah, but no.
No, we haven't really had zombies in a long time, except for 6, which we don't speak of.
Yeah, even 4 weren't really zombies.
No, well, that was 4 and 5 are not zombies.
Yeah.
I mean, they for the most part work the same. They're just more intelligent zombies that can use like tools and shit.
Yeah.
And organize, but. No, I'm down. I'm totally down for.
Yeah.
Like I just want, and I don't want fast zombies because it's Resident Evil. Like I'm fine if they put the Crimson Heads in, and it's like you've got this mechanic of the zombie can become fast if you just don't deal with it.
Yeah.
But like if they load me into that starting scene and like fucking Leon standing there with a burning gas truck behind him, and then all the zombies scream and start running at you, and like you parkour over the tops of cars, I'm not gonna be happy. Like if it turns into Dying Light all of a sudden, or Left 4 Dead, I'm not gonna be happy. But I want a large street full of like. I want these areas that had lots of zombies that we thought were lots of zombies back then to actually have lots of zombies, and it be sort of a like. Because, like, part of the whole beginning of the second game is if you're good at it, you can get to the police station without killing hardly anything.
Yep.
You shoot like a few specific ones that might be in your way, and other than that, you can dodge around the others because they're slow and dumb.
Yeah.
And you can conserve your ammo, and I want that. I want the survival part back into the horror, which 4 did pretty well. It still amped up the action and made enemies drop ammo, but you could run out of ammo for your favorite gun if you used it all the time. Yep. You know, like you get that awesome ass shotgun and it's your problem solver, but you use it to solve every problem. Well, then you're eventually going to be like, oh, I got no more bullets for this. I have to switch off to something else, and I have to at least manage an inventory. I can't carry every gun in the game.
You can, but you shouldn't.
Oh no, you shouldn't. You have no room for anything else.
Yeah. So Resident Evil 2 was your favorite game from this E3?
I mean, that was the biggest, like, yes, thank you. Definitely I'm eager to see what they do with that.
For me, it was a tie between Fallout and Resident Evil. And I am willing to say, for me, like, Sony won E3. For me.
I'm more interested in Death Stranding now.
Yeah.
That I got to see something that wasn't just a trailer.
Yep.
Even though most of it seemed like trailer. Excited to see what they do with Resident Evil 2, of course. Rage 2, I already know what I'm getting into. I'm buying that game.
Okay.
I'm not, it's not the most hype thing. It's not my most hype thing from this year, but like
you're gonna get it.
They showed it to me and I went, this is a game for me. Like, I'm going to enjoy this. This is a game for me?
This is a game for Wooten.
Okay, yeah. No, I saw it, and then Kayla said the exact same thing. She was just like, I think you'll like this, like, because I had to miss part of Bethesda. Well, I had to miss Bethesda and then watch it later.
Yeah.
Due to work obligations, but like I came in and she was like, well, they showed off this and this and this, and I think you're gonna like this Rage game. She's like, I don't know anything about the first one. I remember that it existed and that's it. And she's like, but this looks like right up your alley. And they were like, oh, there's vehicles everywhere. You can drive them. And they all have guns strapped to them. And I was like, oh, yes. And they were like, and then you get out and you go in with an awesome gun and some superpowers and you tear through people.
Yeah.
And do cool things where you get satellites out of orbit and then go get on that satellite. And then we'll see what happens when you try to leave and get back to your car. And but anyways, yeah, those are the things I was excited about. Apparently, somebody announced a new
Frogger.
Battletoads. They showed us nothing.
Yeah, you can just call GameStop now and be like, "Do you have Battletoads?" And,
yeah,
and they say yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the only thing. Like,
yeah, I think that's why they did it. I think GameStop's like behind this. GameStop was like, "Look, could you please just make a fucking Battletoads game?"
The hacker known as 4chan keeps calling us.
Yes, who is this 4chan, and why haven't we arrested them?
Because Officer Battletoads is on the case.
Nobody's seen him in years. But anyways, yeah, they did that. We didn't get any Metroid Prime.
No.
Did we already say that?
I don't know, but we didn't get any Metroid Prime.
It's still apparently coming.
It's not.
I do wish that, like, on these shows, and I think we're pretty much done, and I'll wrap this up. It would be really nice of game companies to come out at A3 and be like, that shit we showed last year, we're not doing that. Like, don't have us waiting for 3 years to find out you canceled, like, Scalebound. Where, like, we've been working on it forever. There are people that are super psyched for this game. It looks good. It looks like you're far into development of the game from what you've showed us and what you're telling us is gameplay. And then you're like, no, we're not doing that. Yeah, but we're gonna just kind of not tell. We're gonna quietly announce that it's canceled.
Yeah. Not only are we not doing it, we haven't been working on it in 2 years.
We gave up.
Yeah.
But that would be a cool addition. Like, post show, they're like, oh, well, Sony has canceled this and this, and EA is not making half the games. And they're canceling all their single-player games to turn them into multiplayer games and microtransactions.
Yeah.
And, and just tell us the fucking truth.
EA.
Buy everything. But, yeah, I guess that's about it. I can't think of anything else.
We talked about a lot. It's probably only about half of what happened at E3, but
that's the problem with it. Is there is
so much.
There's too much for, like, I guess if we all got together and, like, had, like, everybody had those days off and we could just sit here and compile things, we would have more, and we would have a probably shorter show because we would have been able to be like, these are the points we need to make, on to the next. But anyways,
yeah.
I think we're done.
All right.
All right, this has been the Longtooth Podcast for E3 2018. If you stuck with us for this long, and I don't think you did, thank you very much.
I know people that are going to.
Do you?
I know people in real. I know like 2 people. My mom and
I have one friend that listened to last year's because he messaged me and said, "What did you think about E3?" And I didn't get back to him for a day, and the next day he texted me and said, "Oh,
never mind. I listened
to your podcast." Which is cool because he was like, I didn't have to hang out with you.
I know like 2 people that are like, no, send me the link. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to edit this tonight and it'll be up and I'll send you the link. Don't worry.
Okay.
So mom and my friend, you'll get this link.
And then my one friend.
And then your one friend.
Yeah.
3 people.
3 people. Thanks for joining us. Well, hopefully we do have plans to put in more podcasts. I'm not going to talk about that. I want to like flesh that out before I say much more about it. I think we've said more about it. I think we said this last year.
Yeah.
But if not, then we'll see you next year when there's another E3 and we have more to talk about for 2 hours that nobody cares about.
Yeah.